What's up?
So Zay,
How you doing, brother?
pretty good, man. Always punctual.
Yes, sir.
Zalo, that's your new nickname, Zalo.
Zalo?
Yeah.
I
How's
never
the?
tried 100 milligrams though.
I don't know. You know me. I'm just dramatic. I I got to say 100 to make it sound dramatic. You did 60, I think. You said.
Yeah, yeah.
What's up,
So
guys? Is
Still
the
on the
Stu.
safer
camera
side.
working?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's up,
good.
Stu? No, you got the Android thing going on.
Fuck, okay.
How
Android thing.
did it look good on your side, Zay, or it looks like an
It's
Android?
choppy. Choppy.
God damn it.
Grand Theft Auto. Hey Zay, do you how's the off season going?
Good. Good. Thank you. It's I'm getting used to this more volume of food. So
You
my
you
weight
said
is
four.
already 8 pounds up. So that's good. You know?
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna have a trouble. You're gonna have trouble adding the weight because you're probably still hungry, right? Because you weren't pushing the food.
Yeah.
Mm,
My for right now, I'm good. A little
yeah.
more extra, I'm sure I'm gonna start feeling it, you know. But it's all
Yeah.
good, man. I'm all for it. You know what I mean?
And also when the drugs are lower, like with Stu, you notice when drugs are lower, the appetite is better.
Yeah, sometimes. I think some of
Yeah,
it's just like you're so full and like retaining fluid from the gear that like you're piling in like extra shit into your stomach. So like there's just you just feel more like tight and full and blown up, which sucks.
yeah. It's not the best feeling, man. I gotta be honest.
Terrible feeling. Yeah.
I think I enjoyed it in my early 20s. I don't know why, but just being like heavy and full all the time and being strong, that was the fun part. And then dieting was kind of like the chore. But now it's the opposite. Now I look forward to dieting. And then off season I'm kind of like bored, you know?
Yeah, you kind of get used to being huge, and then it's just like, all right, it's just how it is.
when,
So,
when you get into it, you want to be big just for your own self, right? Like whether you compete or not, you're into being big just because you like it. Whether I don't know, you think it's cool, whatever the reason is, you like being big. You get to a point where you're literally just doing it for the sport, and you're not like flaunting it. You don't care how big you look, and you know what I'm saying. You almost try to hide it. You try to cover up. You're not really trying to show how big you are. So early on, you like being big because it's new to you. So it's fun. Wow, I have all these muscles and shit. Then you get to a point, it's literally just a sport. And I think most of us, when we're done with the sport, we're not going to be trying to stay big.
oh,
I don't
fuck
think
no,
that's,
bro.
yeah. I'm literally going to try to get as small and agile as possible when I
What's up,
retire.
Blue?
What's up, Blue?
Yeah.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, what's
Pretty
Good,
up?
good,
dude.
Blue.
How
You
you
mind doing
doing?
me a favor, Blue? Is it possible? Could you flip your phone if you have the space? I wanted a widescreen so I could make sure you're actually like a real person.
Yeah.
We got the
Because
Pirates. Oh, yeah.
I wasn't sold that Blue was a real person. I was like, he might be like an AI because he gets back to his clients too fast. He's a little too smart. I'm like, I don't know. I think somebody like a group of coaches got together and built this program and called it
Nope,
Blue Project.
nope. I'm just one man with OCD.
About as close
That's
to a
all it takes.
robot as you can get. Yeah.
That's all it takes, man. I feel like Compton is similar, man. Compton is very similar. He pretty much stays home and he's just on top of the clients all day long. Those people like you and Compton, you guys are like legit coaches. Like these guys are coaches, whereas like for like us, like we coach people, but we're not that we're not that on point with it. Let's just say that you might wait a couple of days before you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially when like you got to peak somebody for a show. It's like that takes
Yeah.
up your whole fucking weekend, you know?
It does.
So-
Yeah. And then depending on like the time zones and stuff, you got to be up super late and things like that. And
Oh yeah.
it's not easy. Coaching is not. I know everybody thinks it's an easy way to make money as a bodybuilder, but if you're doing it at a certain level, it's not easy at all. I'm sure Blue could attest to that.
Yeah, it's affected my health. I've talked about it before, you know, because I'm
Oh,
very
damn.
OCD, and
Did you
I
get-
train over 300 and something people across now 40 countries. So it's very demanding, and I don't stop. Like, I literally don't stop.
I
There's
think-
no breaks. There's no holiday. There's nothing.
I think Blue did his hair for the podcast today. He looks cute.
My wife told me I was gonna be all prettied up. My wife goes, "At least comb your hair, please."
Well, he also had the full head of hair, which
Yeah.
is
Still got a
rare.
full
Yeah.
head. I never
How-
did much gear back in the day. I never did much gear. I just did tons of insulin and growth hormone. So knock on wood.
You know
Well,
what?
we're gonna get into those stories, don't worry.
I think I've always felt that no matter how much gear I take, I don't feel like it expedites my gains. I got to be honest. Whether I'm on 750 or 1700, I don't feel like I'll put on any more muscle. But when I push the growth, I don't really do insulin because I kind of get like a little soft. No, not a little. I get really soft. But the growth, when I push the growth, I do notice, like more, faster progress for sure. So I think a lot of people assume the pros are doing like a ton of gear. I don't think guys push gear crazy. I think it's usually GH and insulin. I think that's once you get to a certain size, I think that's really where you're gonna get most of the results from. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
I do completely. Once you get to certain genetic barriers, and getting into hyperplasia and stuff like that, actually, furthering, your cells and everything like that. That's where you get into things like Increlex and other things like that. The gear obviously is a foundational thing in bodybuilding. The steroids, but the growth hormone, the IGF, the insulin. That's why guys look the way they look today. It's another level.
I mean, I've been working with Blue for over 3 years now, and my drug dose has just basically been flatlined the whole time.
Yeah.
And they're probably gonna be lower this year. So if that tells you anything, that was back when I was like a heavyweight,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
220. So
Yeah, my first coach was Oregon. So my gear dose actually went down. Like almost every couple years it kind of goes down.
yeah,
Yeah, I
well,
mean,
it's a
it-
high place to start though.
Yeah.
John Oregon.
But what's funny? I didn't think it was high back then because it's like, who did I have to compare to? So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm working with Oregon, and I was talking to like Boston a lot and Trujillo sometimes, and it's like, as far as I heard, this was pretty normal stuff, But at 22 years old, maybe a bit much. Maybe a bit much, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I couldn't really afford like growth back then, so the gear was kind of, it was almost like we were making up with it for the gear. But Oregon wasn't too big on growth, at least well, maybe not with us because he works with a lot of like inner city kids and shit. So like a lot of people don't have money, and he didn't really charge us. So I guess you can't really push growth if you're working with like broke kids, But Blue mentioned the Increlex. What do you think about like IGF but like I guess what do you call it, the ones people get from these sites, and they always say that they get a good pump and shit like that, good recovery. Do you think that's actually IGF or is it's not at all?
The peptide stuff, I see it work on different folks. I mean, it just depends. Does it work to the extent of Increlex? No, not even close.
Mhm.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's at a much different level, but it does help. It absolutely does help.
Yeah.
And it's another tool to use at certain times. You know, a lot of times when people downshift, you know, and come off cycle and stuff, those are good tools to utilize during that time, so you can still, you know, make steps forward. But yeah, Increlex is a different level. Absolutely.
It's only in France, right? Increlex.
You can get it in different places. Yeah, I got a lot of overseas guys that are able to obtain it. It's harder in the States. It's much harder, and it's super crazy expensive.
Oh, I didn't know it was available. I thought this was off the market.
No, there's people still getting it.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to reach out to some people.
There you go.
Nah, I can't afford that shit, man.
Sell a kidney, yeah.
But have you guys tried that, Zaid and Stu? Like IGF?
I never have. No,
I haven't. No.
I'm so skeptical of these fucking peptide sites that, like, I don't know, man. I feel like I'd just be burning my money. I'd much rather just take more growth hormone, which is
shit. I forgot to send a link to Ken. I forgot about Ken for some reason.
Oh no!
I have used GHRP2 for appetite one time, and that shit works. You take that stuff. Yeah, you take that stuff, and even if you were full, you're instantly hungry again. I don't know how, but it tricks your brain to feel hungry again, and it helps you produce more growth hormone. So for the appetite, I took it for the appetite reason, and it works wonders. But it's also after the second week, it probably wears off, stops working after 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I've heard that like you'll with like MK677 as well, and the GHRP2 and 6, like it'll start jacking up your insulin, or excuse me, it'll start like ruining your insulin sensitivity. Your blood sugars will go up, just because, you know, the way that it causes the release of growth hormone is like really slow. Because usually it's like you get like natural pulses throughout the day, and it's more of like a slow bleed of GH, and that's gonna fuck up your insulin sensitivity.
I did notice it. What's up, Justin?
Not much, man. Is it just the three of us today?
Oh no, you probably can't see the screen. We got 5 guys on right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We pulled Blue out of his basement.
No, because I think I had said Blue next week, but I think me and Stu mixed up. So we're like, fuck it.
That's my fault.
Everybody's hopping on. But yeah, for some reason, every time Compton's on, we end up talking about GH for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why.
Justin is one of the few people in the industry that Blue likes a lot. So I figured it'll work.
Probably likewise, because I don't like too many people either.
Exactly.
I mean, those two are actually really similar. Believe it, you know. Whatever, they're really similar people from what I get. You know, what's up, Ken?
What's up, guys? Yeah,
Ken, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm like, man, full house. I gotta say, Justin, it's my first time on a pod with you, Justin. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of your career. So for me, this is a fanboy moment. So to meet you, man. It's a pleasure to meet you. And Blue, I gotta be honest. I didn't know if you existed at one point, you know, because like it's like so
we
it's
just
pretty awesome to see you on the pod. Yeah, it's like, is this guy real? Is he really real? You know,
is he real? Nobody knows if he's actually a real person, but now we got proof. Now we got proof. Yeah, but I think we were talking about Increlex. Okay, so Ken, have you ever used IGF, like the peptide stuff?
Use that.
Dude, no. The basics, bro. The basics.
Just the basics.
Nigerians don't take any drugs. They just eat food and just win shows. But John O'Regan had me doing the IGF DS, right? DS, and it was like into the muscle group that you're about to train. And this was just regular peptide sites, and the pump would be crazy. Like my chest would be pumped, something like my chin. But I don't feel like I kept any gains. It was just a crazy pump, and then that was it. It wasn't like it grew any body parts. So, I think Compton has some experience with Increlex. Did you actually feel like it grew body parts?
Yes. I don't have a ton of experience with it. It was something that I remember hearing the word probably around 2014, 2015. Like, I never heard of it before. I mean, everyone had heard of IGF-1, like the LR3 and the desk version, but actual Increlex, I didn't hear about until then. So once I heard about it, I kind of put some fillers out to people. And that's not something that, I don't know how it is now, but back then you didn't see it like on lists. Like, when you look at your list of tests, DECA, whatever's on there, or GH, it's not on the list. Like, people didn't carry that. So it's like you had to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody to actually get it. So I found a guy, and he told me it's a waiting list. Like, he's like, yeah, I can get it for you. He goes, but you're about 6 months behind on getting a bottle of it. I was like, fuck. And it's up front. You got to pay him to get on the list. So I was like, okay, and it's not cheap. I'm sure you guys can imagine this is not cheap. And it was authentic, fully boxed, sealed, everything.
Do you have any idea what country it came from?
Do what?
Do you know what country it came from?
I think they're made in France.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's France. Yeah. So when I got it, I didn't really know how to use it, to be honest. So I am the opposite of most people. I'm like, let's start as low as I possibly can and just see, because like when you open like any drug, it has like a pamphlet inside of it. And it says like how to use it, the side effects, all the other bullshit in there. So I remember one thing, it had like 5 different languages that you could read all this in. And this thing, when you unfolded the pamphlet, I mean, it's like a fucking poster of like so much information. And it said it can cause cranial swelling. I'm like, well, fuck, I really don't want a big forehead or a big swollen brain, So I'm like, let's just start as low as possible with it. So I actually got my hands on it. I think it was late March of 2016. And I cannot attribute all this to Increlex. I cannot and will not. But I think I did the Arnold that year. I was in the mid 240s. Now, granted, the previous year I was like 250, so I was a little bit bigger, but I lost muscle going into that prep in 2016. So did I actually gain muscle after the show, or was I just basically recouping what I lost and filled back out and did the summer shows the right way, my way? So I think I was in the mid 260s, like 4 months later, 5 months later, when I won the Golden State. It was like 20 pounds up, and the conditioning was the same, if not better. And that's when I personally think I looked my best. And I did use Increlex during that time. I actually used it during the prep too. Made me feel a little weird, with the carbs going down some, which low for me is, I think my low days is like 450, 500 on that prep. My body was on fire. But I did use it, and I started at 50 micrograms. Now keep in mind, this is a 40 milligram bottle. So if you're doing 50 micrograms, it's the same thing will last you like 3 years if you did it every day. So I'm like, okay, 50 was good. Let's try 75. 75, no issues. 100, I think, is when I started seeing, like I could almost see and feel the difference at 100. So I kept it there. And I remember later that year at the Olympia, I was sitting down talking with some guys, I won't name names, and Increlex topic came up, and he goes, "Oh, how much do you use? Like 1 mg?" And I'm like, "Huh? Like a milligram?" No, like, and apparently that was pretty common throughout the board that 500 to 1,000 was a normal dose, because you don't, at this time you couldn't just Google. I mean, you could, but you didn't find much information on Increlex. I mean, there was very little chat about it online. Like, everybody was kind of hush hush. And then if you read the actual pamphlet that talks about the dosing per body weight, if you go by that, then I'm going through a bottle a week. And clearly that's not what I'm trying to do, because the shit's like $2,000 a bottle. So I kept it at 100. and I saw results off of it. Like I said, I don't know what other people do on it, and I to this day don't know what other people do on that. I have heard I haven't just heard, I've seen some screenshots and some text messages of a couple of bodybuilders who are no longer with us to this day. So that narrows the speculation down, where they would use up to 1 milligram twice a day.
And is this like a site-specific thing? Are you shooting in a body part? Or
I did do it that way. Like I actually did a pre-workout into the muscle that I was going to train. And that's kind of like the way that the guys was guinea pigging themselves with the IGF-1. Yeah. And nobody really knows. I mean, it's, again, we are our own experiment, right? Mm-hmm. So I just did it that way. And I did notice, like what you guys were talking about, the pump. Oh, it was astronomical. Like it was to the point that like I couldn't handle it sometimes. It was like too intense.
Yeah. You basically would have to cut your arm workout short because you were too pumped.
Yeah, there was times like if you had like a tricep pump and you're trying to scratch your face, it's like your arm won't physically bend enough.
Yeah. I was gonna make some phone calls about this Increlex, but $2 grand,
dude. Let's just go to France. Let's move to France.
Yeah. You're cool with Stanimal. Let's hit up Stan. See what the scene is.
You might be the guy or like Patrick Tour.
I will tell you, if you look around, you can get it cheaper now. Like I've had the conversation with some guys over the last, what would this be, 8 years since I've actually had it. I have seen it priced as low as $800 a bottle, and I've seen it as high as $3,500 a bottle. So, I mean, it really just depends on how many times it changes hands and probably how authentic it was.
Yeah.
But make sure you know the person or at least know somebody, because I had a client ask me about this probably 6 years ago. And I said, yeah, it was great. And quite frankly, I didn't want him to do it because I felt like he had a lot of other resources to exhaust first. But he was one of those people that was kind of more is better. And I'm like, he's going to fucking do it anyway. So I may as well explain the right way to do it. And he orders it from a credible source. And this shit comes backloaded in like a Humalog pen. And the guy, it was like no labels, no nothing. Guy's like, oh yeah, that's 4 milliliters of Increlex. I'm like, I wouldn't shoot that shit. I don't know what that is, but I wouldn't shoot it. You do what you want with that, but I'd trash that pen.
Man, I'm gonna have to hit up Ed Connors to try to pay for this Increlex.
This guy.
Well, you always hear about people talking about how expensive their cycles are, and I'm like, what the hell could you all possibly be taking? I mean, obviously, the term expensive is relative to how much money you make. But, like, I'm just thinking, like, how are you guys struggling to pay for your cycles? My food costs 3 times more than my cycles did. So,
because you're not an idiot. Like,
came out,
I mean,
and I find these guys are taking, like, 0.5 milligram to 1 milligram a day. I'm like, yeah, that's where your expense is coming from.
Mm-hmm. And like farm growth too, that adds up really fast. I mean, Justin, you used generics for a long time, right?
Me?
Yeah,
I used generics a long time, and then towards the end, I did switch it over, and I used. I don't like the Pfizer genotropins. I never did. I don't know why, but like I would just swell. Like I could switch from legit serostems from the pharmacy to the same dose on the Genos. I'm up 7 to 10 pounds the next week. And my face is blown up. My hands are swollen. Ooh. I don't know what it was, but it didn't cooperate with my body. So Serostems was my favorite. Humatrope was up there too. I liked Humatrope, but both of those are very high dollar.
Yeah. But as far as generics, which was your favorite generic? Or did you have a favorite generic?
I don't know. I know Blue will remember this. The old Riptropins, the real Riptropins.
The Riptropins, bro. I've read about these on forums for years.
Dude, they were fucking intense. Like this, like I think I shared this story with you guys before. So in 2010, I won a local show, and I was working with Shelby at the time. And he had told me it was either 6 or 7 units. And I told him I'd never done GH before. He's like, oh, 6 or 7, which obviously it's way too much for something. You don't need that on your first cycle. But anyways, I listened and I did it. And I remember my buddy was telling me, he's like, dude, how do you even write? Because we were in college at the time. He's like, how do you even write a fucking paper? He's like, does your hands not hurt all the time? And I said, no, I don't notice it. But I was using these green tops called elotropin. And about 6 months later, I found out they were all 100% counterfeit, fake. So when I got my hands on the riptropin, so like right after the show, I was like, well, I'm going to bump it to 10. You know, I can't even feel this 6 or 7 shit. So I'm going to bump it to 10, just take the whole bottle. Didn't feel anything at all. Didn't feel anything. So then I was starting to get yellow tops and riptropins. If you guys remember the yellow tops from IP, those were legit. And so was the riptropins. And I was like, okay, so I'll just take 10 IU of this. And I didn't know that was a high dose. Like that was high. So about 5 or 6 days, I noticed the scale is just going up every single day. And it got to the point that not only my hands hurt, I could feel it all the way, like my forearms up into my elbows. So probably around 2 weeks, I realized like something's very terribly wrong with me. Like I got to back this shit off. So it took me probably a year to get over 4 IU of riptropin. Like I couldn't do it. The pain was just too much. I remember this is a fucked up story. My ex at the time was a massage therapist. She'd probably love and laugh to tell this one. But in the middle of the night, I would wake up and my palms, like right here, specifically like on the thumb, would be hurting so fucking bad. Like, and I'm not talking about just, oh, it's swollen, I can't make a fist. Physical pain. Like as if I put my hand in a vice and I'm sitting there just like tightening it up. So I remember I would get up like 3 o'clock in the morning in pain, and I'm just sitting at the edge of the bed because I'm not going to disrupt somebody else's sleep because I can't sleep. So she'd wake up, and I would lay on my back in the floor at like 3 in the morning, put my hands so they're on the floor, and she'd use her heels to grind into my palms.
Wow.
In order to just get things going. That shit was intense. And I don't condone anybody to ever allow themselves to get to that level. But I did it, and it was stupid. But that's what we had to do just to get me through a night's sleep. And again, I'm not proud of that, but that's what I did. And that was on 4, by the way.
Yeah. The first time I ever did growth, you feel it. It starts at the hand, and it worked its way up to my elbow. And like when I would go to do pressing movements, like my elbows would be throbbing. I couldn't hold the barbell, right? My hands would be so swollen and painful.
Yep.
Like you said, it's not like a normal, like, oh, my hand fell asleep. It's deep pain, like almost like acid in your hands. And you can't go back to sleep after that. It's like, it's so painful. And like that was only on like four IUs, I believe.
I remember my grip was awful. Like to come in and do arms, to warm up, I had to specifically go like 15-pound dumbbells, 20s, 25s, 30s, 35s. Just because if I try to grab anything heavier than that, I'd almost fucking drop it. Like my grip was so weak that I couldn't hold on to anything.
Yeah. Well, also, you said the first time you tried the generic, you ended up getting counterfeit. I think people have that one bad experience, and then they label all the generics to be bullshit. Because I hear people say, no, it's all fake. And I'm like, well, just because you got a fake package doesn't mean that it's all fake. You just haven't tried. So anybody who says like farm generics don't work, you have to use farm, I feel like they just had a bad experience. And they're speaking on one experience. You know what I'm saying? Because
this was 2010, 2011, and that's when people started learning to use the GH serum test, like the blood work on it. So I did my own, and I did 10 IU of those green tops, and it came back to like 0.3, 0.2, 0.3. Well, 10 IU on the riptropin came back at 36. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense now.
People that sell growth, farm growth, also, they don't want to promote the generics because they want to get off the farm. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't have to say it. Thank you.
Though, is the markup great enough? Like, are they making that much money off the farm grade? Because you can go to like, for example, go to like GoodRx and type in like GH and see what comes up, what brands is available. It's incredibly expensive right out of the pharmacy, unless you have some type of great insurance that covers it, or you have a medical condition that's actually that you need to take growth hormone. I think we all know what that medical condition is, that you have to actually take it, and then maybe insurance pays for it, and then you get it cheap, and then they just sell it.
Yeah, that could work. But yeah, I wanted to bring up because we got two coaches on. This topic been coming up a lot lately as far as the proper way to add muscle, right? Because some people believe you have to stay leaner. Some people feel like you have to go all out and you have to hit the weight at all costs before you grow into it. Let's start with Blue. What would your method be? Let's say if I was a upcoming bodybuilder, I'm a heavyweight, but I'm like 6 foot tall. I want to grow into the supers. All right. So we're trying to do it in one or two off seasons. What would your approach be with me?
Honestly, Stu can attest to this. I'm again, very OCD and picky with every little thing. So it depends on the individual. It really, really depends. I mean, there's so many different tools for different situations for different people. It depends, honestly, the state that person's in at that time. Insulin sensitivity, their body fat. There's so many different things. So if the person, let's say, for example, the person was too heavy, they were fat in off season, I would like to recomp them, inside and out, and get them in a completely different position so we could push the food needed to grow. A lot of times guys will come to me, even, some, well-named pros, and they're like, man, I want to grow. I want to do this. And I'm like, dude, your body's not even set up for it. You're not ready yet. And it's a hard thing to hear, but it's the truth. We got to get your body fat low. We got to speed up your metabolism. Let's get a clean canvas so we can jump from there. But yeah, I'm very big on food, very, very big on food. You have to eat a lot of food, primarily protein. And like I said before, I'm not huge on steroids. Obviously, they play their part, but growth hormone, IGF, Increlex, insulin, those are the things, that takes you to the next level. But yeah, over time, titrating up with certain things. But again, it's, and I'm not just, trying to skip skip your question, but it's like, it really depends. There's so many factors and variables.
It's so particular.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, go ahead, Ken, my bad.
Because my question on top of what you said was, how fat is too fat, right? So like a guy like Stu in off season, he still stays relatively lean, right? Meanwhile, you could have other people who they may not,
like me. You can say it,
like Heidi, who's not as lean, or Joe, right? So, in your opinion, is there a sweet spot outside of just insulin sensitivity and doing it through blood work? Just looking at the individual and saying, okay, this guy needs to bring it down a little bit more before we can actually start pushing in the off season.
Well, when someone signs up with me, they fill out, a Blue Nutrition bioform, and that's where they put so much different information, their past history on medications, allergies, injuries, their food intake. That gives me an abundance of information, so I kind of know where they're at, where they've been before. Because you could have a guy that just got a little fluffy because, say, he took a break, he came out of an injury, just got surgery, and the guy has a great metabolism. Do you see what I'm saying? Or you might have a guy that's been abused by 10 coaches, that his metabolism is destroyed, and blood work plays a big part of that to kind of see what's going on under the hood, but again, there's so many variables there, so when you jump in there, okay, just like a master mechanic, you're like, okay, this is this type of a vehicle. I've went through all of its history, everything, diagnosed it, what tools am I going to grab first to see what things I can trigger, not a plethora of changes, but certain things, so we can, certain things that could be hurting him, wasting his time, wasting his money. There's so many factors.
I mean, like, for example, when you started with me, we prepped for a show, and then right after that show, I was really lean, and we just kind of rolled into long, very productive off season, but like that was the best condition I'd ever been in. Right. So that was the starting point for like when Blue kind of put a bunch of weight onto me. So not everyone's coming from there though, you know?
Yeah. And you know, like I told you when we first did that first show, I said, hey, just let me get you lean. I said, because after the show, you know, we're going to have an amazing rebound. You know, this is what's going to take you to that next level. But the only way your body is going to respond that way is by you being that lean, you know, internally too, being set up. So again, I can push the amount of food I need to, and your body will suck it up.
And like I got soft, right? But I also probably had like 10 pounds of water on me because that's the first time I'd run high growth hormone dosages before. And I got up to like 280 that off season. But like that prep, that first prep that Blue did with me, like he pushed me down so far and like got me in such good shape that like I think that just kind of reset everything for me. Like my average body fat ever since 2021 has just been lower and lower and lower each time. And you just kind of, your body just kind of gets more used to being leaner rather than, you know, being fluffy up here and gross. So,
well, you're carrying more muscle now too. You're able to metabolize things much more efficiently.
Yeah.
So let's get more specific. Let me bring you up a subject. So
Beatty's fat.
this handsome young gentleman, he's about what 6 weeks into his off season or so, and he's about 298ish. His calories have got as high as like maybe like 5,500. He doesn't have the best metabolism. Got up to about 5,500, then digestion went to shit, kind of pulled it down now to like 4K-ish, 3,500-ish. So if this young man came to you right now, what would be your next move, looking at his condition and the backstory I gave you?
Honestly, again, there's a lot of other things. I'd want to see his lower body. I'd want to see his lower body, because if this guy's competing, you know, my question is, okay, has this guy always struggled? Has he had shredded glutes before? You know, that's one thing. Sometimes you got to keep these guys leaner because of just one area they haven't gotten down yet. You know, the chemicals, what he's doing, you know, how long has he been doing whatever he's doing right now? I mean, like precisely, like how long has he been at those calories? How long has he downshifted? I mean, there's a lot of different things. I mean, just looking, like I would want, me personally, my preference, I would, you know, want him a bit tighter, you know, in the off season. But again, I would have to see everything in front of me to know, okay, what are we going to manipulate? But definitely I would have to see the lower body, because sometimes guys, I've seen it before, where they're a little sharper. They'll send me a picture and say, dude, I'm in incredible shape. And then I say, I need to see everything. And then they send me a back double in trunks. And then I'm like, whoa, you carry more of your body fat in your lower body, you know, you're going to get ripped apart. And that person has had, you know, those type of fat, you know, since adolescence. So it's never gotten tore off before. So that's going to take even longer. So they have to keep themselves even more accountable in the off season. So that way, when it comes to prep time, that I don't want to say weaker body part, but that higher fat body part is in a better position when we go down the hill.
Yeah. You don't want to see the lower body, Blue, trust me. No, but the glutes and hams hold a pretty substantial amount of body fat. Let's just say that.
But like this year at the USA is like, that was as hard as your glutes and hams have ever been, right? So like you finally got it off of there, which is good. You know, you finally hit that milestone. So next time you get down there, it might be easier to get that body part in shape.
Yeah.
I have a question. I have a question for Blue that's still on this same subject. I guess Blue and Justin, because almost similar to Bitey, I know you mentioned with Stu, like, you know, he was in a prime position for the rebound and you guys started pushing food and, you know, the growth, and he was able to put on that size. Now, do you have clients? Because I fall into this realm where, you know, when I diet for shows, I really don't eat a lot. even in off season, as of right now, I'm really not eating a lot, just to be able to stay relatively in decent condition and still push the weight up. So during that rebound phase specifically, if you're trying to capitalize on that for a guy that pretty much blows up with minimal food, how do you approach that? Do you say, okay, you know what, this rebound, maybe we shouldn't push the food because he's just gonna get back to 260 pounds in a pretty bad recomp? Or, should we keep him more like almost like he's still in kind of like a prep phase and just slowly ramp that up, or just pretty much just take him off and start from scratch?
No, I believe in titrating up. Obviously, that reverse dieting, because another, a big part of this is, certain nutrient timing too, because if the person, depending on what, other chemicals are involved and stuff like that, sometimes I can take people off completely, go into a TRT, go into a detox. I can still grow them, because then I can say, okay, well, we'll come off this stuff, but now we'll introduce Increlex. We'll introduce peptide IGF. We'll jack up your GH. There's different ways of playing. But if they're in that state, obviously, titrating up the food. I'm very big on protein, very big on protein. Those are the building blocks of muscle. So, and the person might be sensitive with carbs, but okay, well, how can we play the game? Where are your carbs going to be the most utilized during the day, and how can we shuttle them more efficiently and get away with certain things a certain time of the day? But again, it's a domino effect. It's the better you are in your off season, that's going to lead to the better you are in prep, and the leaner you are at the end of prep, that's going to, set you up for a better, rebound or whatever. But again, everybody's a little different. Some people, have to take maybe a little more of this or that. So maybe at the end of prep, maybe toxicity is a little higher. So, that limits the tools that can be played with. Or, maybe they didn't do much and they had already been off certain things for a few weeks. And so, you can reintroduce things. It's just a fine game. I tell people all the time, it's like playing an instrument. It really is.
It's hard to answer these questions, because you almost have to get to a specific person, right? Because when I get certain questions, even on Instagram, it sounds like I'm almost dodging the questions, because I almost can't answer it without actually having certain variables, right? It's like you don't really, you're literally going by off of the specific subject, right?
That's why it's so dangerous when these guys are online and they're saying certain things, saying this is the way you do this, this is the way you do this, this is the way you do this. And I'm so against that, because they're only talking about one specific person, one situation. You have guys that, will boast this or that, or they'll immediately answer a question about somebody. If somebody answers a question immediately and say, I would do this, 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 and this, boom, they're fake. Right then and there, they're full of crap, because they're basing that off of just one thing without even knowing about the person.
Exactly. Let's go Compton with a similar. I'll try to make it more specific for Compton. Well, Compton already worked with me, so let's say, okay, same thing, right? So I'm coming out of a show, boom, we go into a rebound. When do you, at what point do you stop pushing me and pull back? Like, is body fat even a factor, or it's just digestion and sensitivity and blood work? Like, at what point do you say, Beatty, you're too fat, we got to pull you back?
So when you say coming out of a show, I assume that's like we're going to get together like Monday after a Saturday show, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes like you see a guy that's like 3 weeks post show and it don't look 3 weeks post show, depending on who you're talking about. So if I can grab, like if you're in a really good competition shape, you're sucked down, your body's depleted, it should be ready to grow. Like if you've done a legit competition prep and you showed up on stage at 100%, you should be primed to grow at this point. So I'm basically going to keep your protein high and keep it the same the majority of the time. We're going to play with fats and carbs. I'm probably going to play with carbs first. and I'm just going to base it week by week on how you're doing. Like, do I have to take your hunger level into consideration? Yes, but here's the thing. Like, I know that you will be able to grow on lower amount of food than I or Stu or a lot of other guys are going to be doing. So you're going to be hungry. You're like, post-show, you're going to be hungrier than we are because you're not going to be eating as much, and you may be growing and putting on weight as fast, if not faster. So I may have to say, hey, man, yeah, we're going to leave the diet the same this week. You're going to be on 300 grams of carbs again this week. Progress looks great. I don't feel the need to increase it. And, you know, if you come at me next week, I'm like, hey, I'm up 8 pounds. I'm like, hey, you need to put the fork down. Like, you know, you gotta back away a little bit. You're putting on way too much weight, way too fast. Obviously, right after the show, there's going to be an initial spike on the scale. Like, that's inevitable. When you have a large bodybuilder that's depleted for a show, to really, truly fill out the tissue as much as you can, I mean, your body's going to suck up a lot of glycogen. Like, for myself, I could have 30 pounds over my stage weight and still have striated glutes. Does that mean I'm in competition shape? No, it does not mean I'm in competition shape. But that's just how much volume that my body will hold. And larger guys is going to hold more volume. I mean, it's like Dave Palumbo talked about this years ago, that he would weigh like 325 in his off season and be like almost in competition shape, but had to come all the way down to 285 in order to get where he needed to be. But he had that much muscle tissue to volumize to do that with. So obviously a larger guy is going to have a little bit bigger spikes on the scale, but it's going to be kind of a week by week basis. So like, if I start to see that your body fat is creeping up really fast, and it also is a mental game with some people too. Like, when you know the person, because some people just can't keep it together post-show. They can't and they won't. No matter what they do, they cannot or will not do it. So at that point, my hands are tied. Like, I can't do anything. But if I know if I can mentally get in your head and get you to do it right, I'm probably going to pull you back. And once we get past that first two and a half weeks after the show, I would personally like to see 2 to 3 pounds per week come on. I mean, hey, if you come at me and you're 5 pounds heavier, 8 pounds heavier, and you fucking look better, I'm not going to slow the progress down. I'm not going to say, oh, no, the scale went up too much. We got to pull the food back because the scale's going up. The scale is maybe 15 to 20% factor as to the decisions that I make when it comes to the changes. So, yeah, that plays a role into it. But your pictures and your biofeedback of what you're telling me is going to play a much larger role into our next move, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the last prep we did together, I'm trying to remember the what year it was, but the rebound was actually harder than the prep, hunger wise, right?
Yeah, I had the same experience, to be honest, and that's where a lot of people fall short, because right after the show, it's like, you don't have to be in shape. Like, you don't have to. You're choosing to stay as lean as you can, which it's kind of like what BOYZ said here a second ago. I'm going to piggyback on that. It's almost like whatever phase you're in, you need to be thinking about the next phase and the one after that too. Like, you need to be thinking 3 steps ahead, because if you get into contest shape, the harder you diet, the better shape you're in, the better your rebound's going to be. The tighter you keep that rebound, the better the off season's going to be. And the tighter you keep your off season, the easier your prep's going to be. And then it just keeps going down the line. You know, when you start to slip, that's when things are going to get a lot more difficult. So right after the show, if you have no other shows lined up and you say, fuck it, I'm not competing for a year, I can get away, eat what I want, you can here and there. But like, too many guys I see do this, they're just pigging out every day for 2-3 weeks, a month. And now they're 50, 60 pounds up. You can kiss your rebound goodbye. We need to do a whole reset. We need to do a mini diet, mini prep again at that point. I mean, I don't typically do that with people. I mean, it's kind of the old phrase, you lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. And it's like a 50-50. Like, I see some guys who come out of the show and they do absolutely fucking great, and other guys, not so well.
That reminds me of in 2021 after my first show with Blue, I did rebound like 40 pounds, but like I still had lines in my glutes. And like I was, it was like a really good rebound. I was eating like a complete asshole for the first 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. And most people can't get away with that. Most people would be fat shits.
That's exactly what I was about to say, Stu, because my North Americans, my rebound, I wasn't even eating bad. My diet was actually the same as 2 weeks prior to getting into the show. But I'll be honest, we're honest here on this podcast. I would have my diet, and I like granola. I'm a granola guy, Nature Valley. I'd have like
shit's dangerous, dude.
I know. I'll have like a bar or two. I'll have like a bar or two every night or something. And dude, my rebound, I was up in about a week, about 30 pounds, and it's like, I'm not really doing anything that bad. I was still doing everything that I was doing. And obviously at that point, Andrew, my coach, he had to take matters into his own hands. So now I was doing even more cardio than 2 weeks prior. And, I had to stay on that for literally the month. It was a very, very difficult rebound for me. So that's why I kind of asked that question, because I know that that's something that it's not even the food, it's just my body just explodes if I'm not 100% on the diet during my rebound. And that's kind of where I struggle.
The downside of being Nigerian.
Yeah, it gets
not many, but
it gets difficult because the food was pretty low, but also the prep was so difficult that after the prep, you're really like beat up mentally and physically. So you want to kind of like cut loose, but my weight is just climbing. So I know if I cut loose, it's gonna go south real fast. So I was following Compton's diet, but like every second or every other day, I would have like 5 guys, and I'm pretty sure Compton figured, because he was like, if you're having cheat meals, don't have the beef meal. So he figured out that I was cheating. I'm sure. I'm sure it showed on my physique, but it is keeping that food that low, bro. You're going crazy, because now you don't have the goal of the show. Like, I got to get shredded for the show. Now it's like, I could cheat if I wanted to, but you're gonna fuck up the rebound. But it's like, man, he's fucking hungry, bro. Shit, And at that time, I felt like a bodybuilder, but I wasn't really a bodybuilder, bro. I wasn't as disciplined as I thought I was. And it doesn't have to be big things, just the small things, right? A fucking Quest bar or whatever it might be, is you might not be as disciplined as you think. So I think at this point it would be different. You have to want it bad enough to be that disciplined, So yeah. All right. I think we covered that.
That shit ain't fair, dude. I mean, it's just like luck of the draw. Like you and Ken, you slip up, you're fucked. And then, me and Justin probably like we can. I don't know, Justin. Do you have to like taper things up really slow for yourself, or could you get away with stuff?
I could get away. Like I could probably have gotten away with a hell of a lot more than I did, but I just came down really hard on myself. So it was like my food was always still weighed out to the exact gram or the exact ounce. It was like not 8.1, not 7.9, 8.0, nothing more, nothing less. Could I have gotten away with it? Yeah. I mean, if I'm eating 900 or 1,000 grams of carbs a day and I'm still in phenomenal shape, single-digit body fats, would it hurt me to replace 2 of those meals and go out and have steak, potatoes, and dinner rolls and dessert? Probably not. But mentally, I couldn't do it. It was like the only thing I could see was my next show. Like I was so obsessed that in 2014, I think I went, what was this? I went like 70 or 80 days, and I didn't take a day off the gym at all. Like that's training, not cardio, but that actual training. I went 80 fucking days. And then I think I went like 6 months with no cheat meals. Nothing that was unplanned, unscheduled cheat meals on my plan. And could I have gotten away with it? Yes. Should I have taken some time off? Yes. But I was just so obsessed that I thought that like this is the only way to do it. Yeah. I mean, I got results from it. There's that, but I don't know if I would have been any further ahead had I have given my body a couple of days break here and there, maybe I would have gotten further along by doing that. And, you know, as far as the cheat meals goes, I don't think that did or did not make me better or worse. Obviously, it tests your willpower. I would have had a better social life. That's 100% guarantee on that. Yeah. Which I didn't care about that, though.
Yeah, you don't like people anyways, Justin.
What?
You don't like people anyways.
I like maybe like 15 or 20 people in this world, and that's about it.
Yeah, like a good point. Yeah. I don't really like people, but I'm really good at pretending like I do like people.
Yeah, like Beatty doesn't like me; he just tolerates me.
Yeah, I just tolerate this guy. You know,
so does Blue. I don't know why.
People, the people watching the podcast like Stu, so I'm like, we'll have him on just for the fans.
Numbers.
Okay, but it's funny I say that, but actually, because Stu was a guest, and then after that episode, if I didn't have Stu on, Stu's fans went crazy, or you know, just people in general went crazy. So I kept bringing him back. I kept bringing him back, you know. But I saw Samson. Okay, who here feels like Samson legit has a chance of beating Hottie? Not just based off this video, but in general. Zayd?
He's looking better.
He looks, I think he looks harder and bigger. I mean,
like I can't tell if he's getting like the Patrick Tour filter going. You know how Patrick filters all his guys' pictures where it's like it looks super grainy, but I don't know. I feel like shit's moving different. He looks drier and harder than previous.
Yeah. There might be a slight filter, but I still believe the condition is a lot better than it was this far out from the Olympia. Because he didn't have those glutes.
He's got lines in his glutes. He's got lines
when he sat on it there, that caught my attention. Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah. How come his glutes don't stride from behind as much as like Sasha?
He pops it out a little bit. He pops it out.
There's still just a little bit more to go. Mm-hmm. Like it's there. Like for example, with myself, when I'm like 4 to 6 weeks out, I can hit a side chest, and my glutes from the side doesn't look any better at 6 weeks out than they do the day of the show. But if I do a back double at 6 weeks out versus the day of the show, it's night and day difference.
Justin, do you feel like it's also a posing thing with him? I feel like he pops his hip out so the adductors actually push out a little bit.
Sometimes
I've kind of noticed that with him. It's actually to kind of fill the adductors out from the back, so he actually doesn't push his glutes in. He almost pushes it kind of out a little bit. I think Keon does that a little bit too.
So did Grimes. Regan Grimes does that.
Yeah.
So some of them do that. It does make your legs look thicker and fuller from behind, but it could be a mind to muscle thing. Because hear me out on this. When I competed with Dexter in 2015, from the front, I felt like my quads were bigger than his. But when we turned around to the back, his legs appeared bigger than mine, and he still was flexing his glutes. He was still doing it right. So it was like he was pushing his hips back, was still able to flex his glutes, but still able to make his adductors. I mean, there was a big difference between me and him on that pose. And it was not a mass thing. I feel confident saying I was more muscular than him. Our conditioning was very, very similar, but his looked bigger and better. I mean, it's just a matter of mastering that pose 100%. And I think with Samson, he's very close. If they can keep the throttle all the way down, I don't know exactly how much he weighs, how much more he needs to lose. I know he's a big frame guy, so I'm going to say if he can come down 10, maybe 10 to 12 more pounds on what I'm seeing here, that's at most. I don't even know if he needs to go that much if it comes out of the right area.
And not weird. Don't do weird shit at the end too.
Yeah,
like Milo, like he looks really good here. He doesn't look like he's holding water. Like he just has a little fat to get off him. And then Milos gets Milosy with the peaking stuff.
Go for broke. Why not?
Yeah. I don't think most black guys, especially Nigerians, need like a heavy carb load or insulin. No insulin. Keep the insulin away from him.
Fuck no.
But before the stage,
I'd
don't
be
even.
surprised if Milos has him do that. Honestly,
Yeah.
like
Bro,
even he
don't
knows better than that.
I would hope. Don't even have insulin in the same room as him. The shit he might get some. You know.
Well, I
Yeah.
think the best he has looked was at the Prague show, and I believe his wife did his peaking then.
Oh.
Really?
Well,
There was one show post Olympia that I did think that was his best. Like, I don't think he brought his best to the Olympia, and obviously he still finished third. I don't think he was at his best there. And there was one show that I thought that what's the Iranian guy's name?
Beirut.
Beirut,
Yeah, I actually could have argued that he could have beaten Samson at that show. He was a little bit harder. I think that they just missed their peak big time. I don't know what they did different, wrong. Maybe they added insulin. Maybe they said, hey, fuck it, let's try it and see what happens.
Mhm.
But it wasn't his best look. And so I think it was arguable on who won that. But then the following weekend, I guess it was Prague, that he came back in and just had a slam dunk. So it's not like he got fat during those, like, a week or two off. It was just something missing in his peak. And I mean, we're speculating right now. I have no clue what he did wrong, but there was something that was off.
He should have his wife peak him.
Yeah, whoever did that, that's who he needs to stick to.
Well, his wife, he turned pro with his wife coaching him, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she was his coach before Milos. Yeah.
That's wild.
At the Prague, he looked the best, and then I seen something that his wife did the peaking. I was like, wow, he looked the best I had seen him. He looked better at Prague than he did at the Olympia. So
his wife could charge $5,000 for protocols if she's doing a better job than Milos.
Okay.
So what's crazy is when I started prepping myself, I never really let anybody see me like posing physique wise. Nobody ever really seen my pictures. The person who took the pictures was my mom. I would drive over to my mom's house. I would take the pictures, and I had to treat myself like I was a client. And at the time, I didn't prep but maybe like 5 to 10 people. So that really wasn't my specialty. I prepped people that I liked back then, and I just wanted to keep it really small. But I would just kind of ask my mom, I'd be like, what do you think? And if she's like, you're a little big, Justin. When she would say big, I'm like, okay, she means you're still fat. Like, pull down. Or if she's like, you're looking a little small, I'm like, okay, that means I'm flat. Like, she didn't know the proper terms, like the bodybuilding slang terms that we would say, but I was able to read what she was saying to me because she literally watched me transform from a natural teen bodybuilder into an Olympian bodybuilder. So, like, she knew exactly what she was looking at. She just couldn't put her finger on, like, the wording that we would use. Mm-hmm. And I kind of took her feedback off of it. It was like, okay, these are the changes I need to do, and just keep your blinders on, stay focused.
Is she taking clients right now? Sorry, Blue.
No, but Justin's right. The person closest to you, even if they don't follow the sport, they see you all the time. Like Milo said it, right? He was talking about Samson's wife. He was like, she gets to see Samson walk into the bathroom butt naked. He said, I don't get to see that. So she sees a different angle that I don't see, right? So my when I did the USA, my girl at the time, right? She would, okay, so as I was flattening out, she's like, you got to start eating. You should start eating. I was like, you think so? But I didn't want to eat because I didn't want to spill, right? But she knows the look because she's seen the look. So she's thinking like, this motherfucker flat as hell. So she's probably thinking like, you should eat. So these are some of the people that should have some input because they see a different side. Yes, your coach sees the pictures, but she's looking at you in real time at all times. And you can't trust yourself as much as you can trust somebody who's literally watching you all day long, every day. So you got to
have somebody in your corner, whether it's your girlfriend, your best friend, your parents, whoever, your training partner that sees you every day. But you have to make sure that it's someone who is not your cheerleader. Not someone that's just going to pat you on the back and tell you that you're doing good. They have to be brutally honest with you on things. Because like you said, some guys will look better first thing in the morning. Some guys going to look better after 3 meals. And you got to take that kind of stuff into consideration with peaking as well. Like, I have had guys that look better with a gallon of water and 4 meals than they do rolling straight out of bed. It's not always typical, but I have seen that. But like you said, I don't get to see that on them all day, every day. Like, I don't live with them. So whoever's going to be closest to you is going to know when you're on and when you're not on.
Yeah, even that peaking stuff, because like for North Americans, right? Andrew, my girlfriend, we were all there, and Andrew was actually giving a lot of the things that I was supposed to be doing to my girlfriend, because dude, I wasn't there. I was gone, like, mentally, right? So she was the one that was like, okay, you need to do this. Like, if he sent something and we would take the photos and whatnot, she was the one that was kind of like with the hammer, like, this is how it's gonna go. This is what Andrew sent and whatnot, because I would see something and I would just forget. Like, I was just disoriented at that point. So it's always good to have someone.
I think that's pretty typical, to be honest with you. The last few days of the show, like, I could function, but that was about it. Yeah. Like, if you ask me a serious question, you're not getting much of an answer out of me.
Man, taking fucking what do you call it? The check-ins. I don't know when it is. I think about 6 weeks out or so. And I know Compton is waiting for check-ins, and I'm like trying to get them. I have to check these check-ins, and until I get that first meal, I feel like I can't even stand up. So it's like, okay, I gotta send these check-ins, but before the meal, and it takes me like an hour to muster up the energy to fucking set up the tripod and take the pictures. This prep shit gets rough, but it's kind of fun though. Like, in hindsight, you're like, that's kind of fun because it invokes like emotion, right? And in the off season, it's like I don't really have any highs and lows. It's just like kind of boring, Speaking of coaching, Compton, so you coach yourself as a pro, but you were with Evogen for a while.
Yeah.
You were with that. What was that company name? With the yellow one.
Gear.
Oh yeah, Gear Neutral.
You would with Gear too, but we're not going to talk about that. When you were with Evogen, did you ever actually work with Hani at any capacity as a coach, or did he ever help you in any way, or was it just you the whole time?
So I'm gonna say this, and I don't say this in any negative way towards him. I actually worked with Hani for the 2011 Nationals. This was before I turned pro, and there was multiple things that there was multiple outside factors that was not me related, not him related, but let me just call it how it is. I had stress. I was drowning in stress, and I had fake shit. So what do you expect on that? Like, I'm pretty sure my whole stack, I'm pretty sure I did that show natural, to be fair about it. There's that. So he did prep me then, and yeah, it was my worst placing and probably my worst look as an amateur or a pro, but I don't blame him for that. However, when I did the Orlando Pro myself, I enjoyed the process of coaching myself. I truly enjoyed it. I liked the challenge, like the thought, like it was like a brain quiz for me every single day, because my diet sometimes changed every single day, depending on how quickly I was changing. Now, that being said, whenever I was with Evogen, we had our phone calls. We talked about the contractual stuff. And I just told him, like, I know you're the coach, but I don't want, nor do I need you for that. Like, I'm here to support your brand. I'm here to represent your brand, and I'm here to sell. But that's it. And he was like, yeah, that's great. He goes, I have enough stuff going on. He goes, I really don't need another athlete. So we cleared that, like, right out of the gate. Now, as far as if I ever had a question, like if I was ever like second guessing or doubting, he was there. Yes. Like if I said, hey, could I switch this food for this food? Maybe it digests better. Instant reply every single time. No question about it. Like, it was like if I had an idea that I wanted to bounce off of him, he would give me his thoughts on it. Training wise, every time I did like training with the guy. Not gonna lie, I actually did like it because he's a very, very high volume training guy or high volume training coach. Like, if you think what you do is hard, you're gonna realize what you're doing is not fucking hard at all. Like, he's the type that's gonna tell you, and this is good for people to be able to break past those mental barriers. Now, you can't do this every single day. You literally cannot do it every day. You're going to be in rhabdo if you try it. But like, I remember training legs with him, and the next day when I got up, I genuinely thought I needed medical attention. Like, I'm not joking. I thought I needed fucking medical attention. Like, just like, he'd be like, all right, you got three more, come on. And I get 3, and on that last one, I'm like quivering. He's like, nope, you're not done. He would like fucking push down the sled, like, give me 5 more. And I'm like, dude, I'm stuck. And he's like helping me up and down. Like, it was beyond, like, it was not failure. It was not beyond failure. It was beyond that of where he would take you. But it builds the mental strength. Like, so then when I would go back to do my regular workouts, I realized, like, it's not that bad. It's not that hard going to failure. Like, I can push fucking harder. I got more in the tank. So it gave me an edge in the sense of it made me stronger mentally in the gym. Like, diet wise, I didn't need any help with that. Like, you're not going to get me to break my diet. You could have literally laid 10 grand on the counter at 3 weeks out and said, Justin, if you eat this burger, I'll give you 10 grand. I'd say, fuck you and your 10 grand. Like, I would have flipped you off till you'd go to hell. I wouldn't have done it.
I'm going to eat that burger.
You know, like, listen, with the training wise, I don't think I ever struggled with it, but he did introduce like new boundaries for me to reach, per se.
Were you were never curious, like, hey, honey, what you got Phil Heath doing? What's that program looking like? You never got.
I remember in 2011, because I was young, I was a little naive to the sport, and I tried to casually bring it up on the phone with him, and you could tell it was like, what the fuck are you doing asking me this question type of thing? Like, kid, get out of here. But you know what's surprising is, like, we've had 4 or 5 hour long rides in the car together. We've had 2 hour long phone calls. We've run expos, you know, all kinds of stuff. I never asked him, like, once I became a pro and started my own thing, I never asked him, what does Phil take? What does Phil eat? I know we talked about the quality of food. Like, Phil was really big on eating filet mignon and halibut. Like, those are very pricey meals. Like, if you're doing three filet mignon meals and 3 halibut meals a day, and I think that's oftentimes, or Phil would end up switching to either all halibut or all orange roughy. I mean, I was just thinking, like, how I remember asking the question. I said, how the fuck does he afford it? He goes, he's Phil Heath. He can get what he wants.
That muscle contract. That muscle contract, you know?
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean,
That's
I was thinking, like, you know, I didn't have that kind of cash at that time, especially 2011. So, like, if you're telling me you eat 10 ounces of orange roughy 4 times a day, well, first off, I ain't doing that because I just hear too many horror stories with the orange roughy. We all know about that, right?
Oh, yeah, we know about that, yeah.
I did it twice a day. I never had any problems. I'm like, let's just cap it there because I don't want to be telling this story 10 years from now. But unfortunately I was on a budget, so I ate, you know, more cod, tilapia, just chicken breast, stuff like that. But that's really all we got into with Phil. As I remember him also telling me, it was 2011 or 12, that he had to, like, basically get in Phil's head and say, you're not fucking training arms the entire offseason. He's like, you're not doing a curl, you're not doing a push down.
You see,
like,
Ken?
Do what?
I say Ken loves the big arms.
Yeah. So he told Phil, like, you're not training arms at all. Like, I don't want to see you doing anything arm related. We're going to focus on bringing up your back, bringing up your chest, bringing up your shoulders, but nothing arm. And then when we start prep, you're going to start training arms again. And somehow his arms were like a ½ inch bigger that year as well, still. Like, they still grew. But, I mean, that's really the extent of the conversation because I knew, one, Phil's Mr. Olympia. So, like, his stuff is going to be – everybody's stuff should be confidential, but Phil's is going to be, like, kept top secret. Like, there's no way he's ever going to talk to me about that. And I knew that if I asked and I pried too much, it was just going to piss him off. So we just never had that conversation. Plus, you know, at that point in my career, this was 2014, 2015, I knew that whatever Phil's doing probably is not going to make me look like Phil, and it's probably not going to work for me. And he had been working with Phil for, I don't know, probably a decade at that point. So obviously they had the formula down, had it figured out. So again, whatever they were doing probably wasn't going to apply to me anyways.
And then Blue, you actually worked with Hani, right?
Yeah, I did for a while. Yeah.
How long did you work with Hani?
I met Hani, let me see, in 2009. Worked with them off and on for years. Honey's always been, a good friend and just I'm always open about it. I'm not prideful. He's the best coach on the planet. He really is.
Yeah. If you had to narrow it down to, I don't know, like a couple sentences, what do you think makes Hani the best coach?
I think, and a lot of stuff I learned from him as far as, doing everything play by play, being OCD with every tiny little thing. There's of course you have the gym, but everything, even like Justin was saying, not 7.9 ounces, not 8.18, everything precise. Even the type of food, is it natural food? Every little thing. Your rest, your recovery, he's very methodical with every aspect. There's certain coaches out there that'll just do your food, or they'll just do, your subs. But all of these things are moving parts. They have to work synergistically. And that's the big thing with Hani is he's kind of a master at having all these things work together well for that individual. And especially with, he can make you feel like you're the only person that he's working with at that time,
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. And especially the personal side. I mean, like when I, would work with Hani, I mean, we'd sit, talk on the phone, everything was very personable, every time I'd get on the phone with him, one of the first things he'd always say is, how's your wife? How's the kids? Hani's a really good dude, he's a genuine dude.
Yeah. And one thing you mentioned there towards the end that for example, like with me, I didn't need somebody to scold me on the portions and whatnot, because I was always dead on with that, and I felt like I gave it 100% in the gym. But there is one thing that Hani is incredibly good at that is probably better than any coach out there with this sector, and it's a very people don't talk about this, but the psychological side of the sport, like. He's pretty, when you see somebody, they're fucking up. Like he's not there. Something's not right. The pictures that I'm receiving is not the results that I'm expecting. So he's the type that is able to, I don't want to use the word manipulate, but he's able to get into your head and figure out why you're having these issues. And I'll be straight about it. I can't do that. Like, I am not good with the psychological side of things. Like, I can give you the plan. I will tell you what to do and expect you to execute. If you don't execute, I'm just like, oh, fuck, I don't know what to do. Like, he's the type that knows how to work your brain, not just your body. And again, not many coaches can do that. Like, I think Chris, based on what I've seen about Chris is pretty good with that too. But he does take like with Hani, and I'm pretty sure Chris is the same way. They do exactly what you said, having the phone calls. They kind of get into your personal life a little bit, because sometimes your personal life does affect what you're doing with bodybuilding. And, it's kind of hard. This is a very wishy-washy subject, because if somebody's having problems, like if you're like, let's say Derek Lunsford is having problems with his wife, it's like, if my client came to me and he's having a problem with his wife, it's like, fuck, man, like, I'm not a marriage therapist. I don't know. Like, I know what I want to say, like, but I'm like, do I say this? Like, am I like qualified to say this? Should I say this? But like, I know that this woman's causing him all this problems, but like, if I say this, is he going to get pissed? Am I a bad guy? Hani somehow manages to finesse those situations.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Hani, I actually saw an update. I think this was directed at Samson, because I saw Hani post like a I thought Hadi post like this, like the back poses, showing off what he got going on. Boom. By raise your hands, who has Hadi winning the Arnold Classic?
Easy.
Right now, I got him winning.
Easy.
Zayd is Hadi's number one fan. For anybody who doesn't know, you know,
Number one.
you don't have Hadi winning, huh?
No.
Okay.
Plus, that video is filtered right there. You see, so I don't like it.
He's coping.
No, it's true. It really is true. That's a filter right there. I don't expect Mr. Olympia to post a video with a filter on.
Okay, what about Samson's
Well,
filter?
Samson's
talk
filter.
about
To his defense,
Yeah.
Samson looked like he had a slight filter as well.
Samson's
New
filter
Age.
looks more
Did it?
filtered than it looked more filtered than this. I'll be honest.
I
Is
did
it
think so.
actually
I did think so.
filtered, or is it just like the
Light.
magical lights per se?
Yeah.
Like, you
I-
remember
I-
Flex Lewis?
Mhm.
There was this. It was a very iconic, classic set of pictures Flex did, and he had like the way the lights was hitting him from behind. It was arguably one of the best. Like obviously he was Mr. Olympia, but looking at these photos, like that's the gym Mr. Olympia. That's like the best bodybuilder I've ever fucking seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got, and I think Neil was in a couple of those pictures as well, but like he figured out the lighting in that gym. That was before his gym became public.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, like, is this actually filtered, or does he found the sweet spot with the lighting? Because I don't see a filter. I may be wrong.
I think
That video.
I think the
it's
graininess is up
Los
a little
Angeles filter from Instagram. You know,
bit.
the
It does
Los
look like
Angeles.
it does look like
Yeah.
that.
I
I can
don't know,
see that.
Samson's, this to me, I mean, I feel like at this point, filter is fair game. I mean, it doesn't even
I
look.
think so.
Samson's looks more filtered than this. If they did that, I don't know, but from this, I could just tell from the lighting and without the filtering, you can see the lines in his glutes, man. You can see the serratus. I mean, filtering is not going to provide that. You know, it's not going to give you that that detail.
That's what I think. Like even with the Samson thing, right? I think filters obviously can enhance your lines, but it's not going to create lines that aren't there. And and some of those lines that Samson had, it just wasn't there before. And in Hadi, I mean, Hadi don't need a filter. You know what I'm saying? Like this is he's in shape. It's Hadi, you know. He's gonna be in shape. I don't think it takes away from anything. But that being said, why do you have Samson winning, Zayd?
Because the Arnold Classic, they value shape a little bit better. He poses a lot better, and he's taller, so he's gonna definitely be having the edge on him right there, in my opinion. Plus, he's already the Arnold Classics champion, and what Hadi did last year isn't really helping him on the stage anymore. Plus, I don't really think he's doing the US one anyway. I think he's doing the UK one, but not the US. So I'm not sure he's doing it.
You don't think he's doing the U.S. Arnold, like the one in Columbus?
Yeah, I don't think so because
He said 7 weeks out. He did say 7 weeks out. A few weeks ago, he said 7 weeks out, and that's it might have been lost in translation. I don't know, but I feel like they got to say it. They got to announce it. Like, yo, I'm not doing
confirm.
Yeah.
At this point, he has to confirm because no one knows if he's actually doing it or not. With everyone pulling out, and we all know the visa issues for coming from Iran. So it would be nice if we got some confirmation because on the actual poster he was pending. It wasn't actually confirmed there either. So I don't know.
I mean, but it's
that sucks because I thought he was fully confirmed.
No.
Shit, that changes the game because that being said, if there's no confirmation of him not doing the show, that tells me that the promoters, along with the IFBB2, are just going to let this, like, they're going to let it go unsaid because it's going to sell tickets. Like, if I was in that area, if I was in Columbus, I would want to go to see this guy. Like, if I was an up and coming, hell, I've been all aspects of the sports. I'd still want to see this guy in person. So,
well, they had Andrew Jack and Rubiel drop out, so I feel like if they announce Hadi dropping out, oh man,
It's gonna be a big letdown because I think a lot of people had Andrew, in that top 3 spot. So
yeah.
I don't know, but back to one thing that Zaid said is, you mentioned how you think that they tend to favor shape a little bit more at the Arnold. And I have to disagree with you on that because it's the same judges that does the Arnold and the Olympia. Now, Arnold made his stink probably about 10 years ago, and he still does. Arnold doesn't like the direction of open men's bodybuilding nowadays. Mm-hmm. So have they made a couple of calls that might appease Arnold? Yes. But I think a lot of it is just to shut Arnold up, more or less. It's like, hey, this is our show. We're going to run it. But because he's Arnold, we can't disrespect him because he does carry a lot of weight. So I think they just kind of try to appease Arnold because when they introduced the posing round into the actual judging criteria and said it was going to be 30% of your score, somehow I beat Cedric in the posing round. Now, we all know that's bullshit. I know damn good and well I cannot outpose that guy. There was multiple people that I beat on the posing round that I know I was not a better poser than them, but they had to, kind of fudge the numbers. They got the placings right, how I thought it should have been. They got the placings right, but if you would have factored in that posing round, my ass would have been on the top 5.
Yeah, because I think what they said with the posing, from what I understand, from what the judges said, is they're not actually judging the posing round. They're judging the way the physique looks and it flows during the actual poses, which doesn't make any sense to me.
That's kind of weird because that's what every other round does.
It's like you may as well not even say
subjective and not objective.
Yeah.
It
doesn't make any sense to me.
Now, Zaid said what happened last year, right? I think, okay, if it's true, the rumor that he took off his medal and gave it to Bob, if that's true, I don't think he's gonna win the Arnold. But if it's not true, if he just walked off the stage after a couple photos, he might be fine. I think he'll be fine.
There's more info on that too, Bitey. Do you know that?
No,
I watched was it the Dennis James podcast last week?
Mm-hmm.
The one with, I don't know, I think Jay Cutler or something. It was the one Jay Cutler was on. I think it was Dennis James. And he said backstage, after he went backstage, him and Hani got into they were really arguing backstage.
Because Hani's smart. He's like, bro.
Yeah. Hani was
you
not
can't do that.
At all.
Yeah, you can't do
him
it
at all. Yeah.
And then like a lot of people, they'll say well, it's normal emotions. Yeah, we all know it's normal emotions. That's irrelevant. It's that to cover your own ass and to cover your own future in the sport, part of being a man is you can't just show your emotions whenever you feel like it. Part of being a man is controlling your emotions at the right time. Nobody's faulting how he felt. Of course you're pissed. Everybody would be pissed. Shit, you can go backstage and throw the trophy if you want, but while everybody is looking at you, that's when you have to compose yourself, no matter how bad you feel. A lot of people have lost their trophy. A lot of people have won and lost, but nobody has done that. So it's not about hey, yeah, that's normal emotions. Everybody feels emotions.
There is that fair argument, though, because Jay Cutler said the same thing. I think it was the same podcast. When he actually beat Ronnie and they gave Ronnie his medal, he took it off right there in front of everyone.
He did.
So I'm not second place. He took that shit off right there, So, I mean, it's half and half. I don't think they should dock him for it. I think that sometimes, with bodybuilding especially, we try to make it this clean-cut clinical thing where it's like you have to look a certain way, but we're human beings, we're emotions. Is there any other sport where someone lost a Super Bowl or they lost the trophy, and they're gonna just shake your hand and smile? Oh, this was great. It's you put your heart and soul into it. So I don't think that someone should be docked. What he did, I don't agree with it, but we also have to understand sometimes people are human, and that shows, that there is a person behind that body that is on stage sometimes. You just got to give people some slack sometimes,
But where do you draw the line? Huh?
I agree with him 100% on that.
The IFBB doesn't.
The way it would work is like they shouldn't judge you based on like it's a bodybuilding show, not a personality show, not who can run their mouth, who can do whatever. It's literally what you bring to the stage. So your placings should solely reflect what you brought to the stage that day. Obviously, we know that's not always the case, but I just feel like if they had a problem with what he did, I'm not sure. I don't remember if I signed this in any of my contracts when I got my pro card. But is there anything in there about disorderly, like poor sportsmanship or anything like that?
There might be now.
I don't read that.
I'm just saying, if they had a major problem with it, they could say, "Hey, we're going to suspend you for 1 year for poor sportsmanship."
But it's easier to just like do it quietly, you know?
Yeah,
and maintain that fear amongst the athletes that step out of line and you're going to get fucked. That's so much more powerful than anything like a suspension or, you know.
Yeah.
Tyler Manning also said something about his legs being unbalanced, one side to the other.
I did not see any imbalances in his legs.
If you really look, you can see it, but like, I mean, in the poses, I don't notice it. I really don't.
Yeah, I didn't notice it, but I'm gonna take Tyler's word on it. Now,
you guys all have him first place. All of you guys have him first if he shows up.
I do, yeah. I do.
I also had him first at the Olympia, but that's another story.
There you go.
Hey, Blue. Where did you have Hadi? I mean, who did you have winning the Olympia? Did you agree with the placings?
Honestly, I had Hadi just edging him out. But Derek, man, just has so many from the rear. I mean, Derek is just, you know, it's pretty crazy. I think if Hadi was a little sharper, I think he would have got the nod. I think if he is at 100% at the Arnold, no one's going to touch him. No one's going to touch him, especially from the rear. As soon as Samson stands next to him, it's not even close. It's not even close. So.
Shit, if he's 100% at any show, I don't know if anybody beats him besides possibly like maybe 100% Samson, but we don't know what that looks like. That might not look how we think it's going to look, you know? What if he loses his roundness if he gets peeled? So it's hard to say what if, you know.
And do you guys feel like with, because judging is also based on your prior self, so you know, Hadi sometimes gets docked for not being 100%, right? People always look back to his Vancouver he did?
Yeah.
Which I forget the one in Canada, right? And they're like, oh, if he brings that, like with the more mass. So they always look at that. But when you compare him to the rest of the lineup, a lot of times he's still top 2, if not the best conditioned guy on stage. So you know, do you guys feel like that's also part of the problem? Because I know Dexter Jackson also had that problem in his career, right? The guy could be the most shredded on stage, but it's like, well, he was more shredded in 2008, so we're not giving it to him, you know?
Yeah.
But Ken, the last 2 years in the Olympia, he was not even the top 2 most conditioned person in the Olympia. Don't you agree?
From the back, no, but from the front, you can make an argument.
Yeah,
but yeah, it got to be the full package, you know. Oh shit. Well, I don't know if we can cover this because he said he didn't say it publicly. I wanted to cover.
Just chop this bit out.
Just out of curiosity, how do you think Martin would fare up against Hadi from the back poses?
I mean, in the back pose, not that pretty well. From every other pose, not that well, probably.
I think he beats him in those poses
with him just because of the actual size and density that Hadi has over him. I think, you know, a couple of more years, and I'm gonna go and peep on Martin's page right now. Yeah, but Martin gets in shape, so he gets very dense.
It's the
Let's check
density.
Martin now.
It's the density of Hottie, man. It's the density. I think who was it that said it on this podcast? You look at Hottie and his physique just looks like hard work. It's
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Texas
so
look he
dense.
had, it would be competitive for sure.
Yeah.
We're back on live, so careful, Stu. Let's see. It is recent.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he has good quads. Good. I don't think he has weakness. He has good quads, good hams, straight glutes, good arms, good back, or really good back, full chest. He comes in shredded. I mean, what more can you ask from bodybuilder, right? Like what does he need to improve at this point? Maybe more density compared to like somebody like Hottie. That's about it.
Yeah, he reminds me of he's very similar, not like actual physique, but to Hunter, where the strengths, he doesn't really have a weakness. Everything is there and everything is proportional. The problem is when you put a guy like Hottie, everything is just so dense, and he's just so Hottie's also really wide. I don't think people always take that into context too. Yeah, it's just really dense. It's hard to overcome that.
Derek is really wide, and Hottie is wider than Derek, so that's tells you a lot. Shit, Keon is really wide,
Keon's so crazy wide in person. For a guy who's like 5'5", he's just walking like this,
He's a lot bigger, because when you're aesthetic, nobody looks at you like you're a big guy because you're aesthetic. He looks like an athlete. But I mean, that's one hell of an athlete we talking about. Like he's pretty fucking big. Pretty all right.
I think the only thing that Martin will find himself struggling with, and he's improving every single time. So it's not something that he's not addressing, but just continuing to get bigger.
Yeah, I was about to say he competes in like the 230s, or he did last for 2022, the last time he was on stage. And he's like 5'7". So I'm 5'8", and I was like 250 last year. So I think he needs a few more pounds on him. But again, he's balanced, so it's like he'll place well just because of the balance, and like he has a body that flows well and it looks complete, and that can definitely creep you up in placings.
Did he confirm those shows that we said off air? I don't think so.
Yeah, because on Who is the Best Bodybuilder, there is a New York pro.
You can't go. You can't go.
No. Hear me out. He commented on it, and
Okay.
he said that he's looking forward to a rematch against Nick Walker because the last time they competed was for the overall.
North Americans, holy shit, that was a long time
Yeah,
ago.
so yeah.
I thought when you said who's the best bodybuilder, I'm like, we can't.
Nah, bro, come on.
All right. So New York is gonna be stacked, man. It's gonna be stacked.
Stu, guys.
I know Stu's bringing it. I know Martin is bringing it. Obviously, Nick is bringing it. Tonio is bringing it. Shit. I mean, actually, let me go to
Carlos. Carlos said he may do it too. He said it on this podcast.
He did say it. Yeah, you're right.
Carlos may be jumping in too.
So damn, bro. But these are like, we're not talking about like just like upcoming, see where I'm at. Like these are legit like guys, like legit future top Olympians.
I don't get to play that card anymore.
We're not.
The upcoming, like the new guy.
No.
That's me and Joe now and Zaid.
You definitely in the mix, man. You're gonna be right in the mix. Any show you do, you're gonna be in the mix, man. He don't show his physique that often.
Nah, he's a humble guy. Carlos, humble guy.
So you're talking about the New York pro right now, right? All those names you just mentioned.
Yeah. Who's the best?
I think Nick will pretty much walk. I think Nick will run away with that one.
Yeah,
right there.
I think that's safe to say. But unless something happened,
I didn't even make the cut. Yeah, I'm out of the top call, guys.
Am I just struggling to see here? But who's the very first photo there?
That's
like 212 guy.
Yeah, he's
Angel.
That's Angel.
Yeah.
He looks big as hell.
Yeah. Angel, yeah, he's incredibly good, but I mean, he's going to look very small standing next to Nick.
Why didn't they put Stu in there?
I was thinking the same when I saw this. This I didn't even know Rafa was doing it. This is new to me. I didn't even know Rafa was jumping in.
He's not going to be in the mix, I don't think.
Really? I mean, well, he's not going to win.
That's true. You don't think Rafa will be in the mix? You mean to win, or you mean like top caller?
To win.
Beatty,
I mean,
could you not?
First call
Beatty,
out like
could you not?
Seventh place.
I gotta know why didn't they?
I thought Godzilla had a visa issues too, right?
Oh, yeah. How are you gonna make New York if he couldn't make the Arnold? They got this list so fucked up.
This visa stuff, man. You never know, bro. Like, I have no idea either. But I don't know if it's a timing thing. Yeah, I don't know if it's a timing thing or what. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Can't they just literally cross the border? Isn't that like a thing that's going on? Like all jokes aside, like I thought you could just walk across the border. Or am I not keeping up with politics?
Yeah, I mean it kind of seems that way.
He could just walk across the border. So just come through, Nexzilla.
He's in Colombia.
Fly to Mexico and then just walk across.
Yeah, literally fly to Mexico, walk across, no problem. You know,
how's he gonna get out though?
You just stay here, man.
No, you literally just walk back to Mexico. They don't check at all. They don't give a shit.
Is that how it actually works?
Yeah, there's nobody trying to get into Mexico. It sucks in Mexico. Fuck.
The anabolics are good.
No,
are they?
The shit down there is fake. Actually,
are they made?
Yeah,
I don't know about that. All right,
some of them.
Let's cover the. Let's do the questions before Blues AI starts to
short circuit.
Yeah.
Blues, Blue, if you got to get out of here, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I got another 10 minutes.
All right,
perfect.
Yeah, but before we do the questions, I just want to ask, because Blue, that room is so fascinating to me. Like, I came up, what's going on in that room with the Pirates of the Caribbean? Is that what it is? The theme?
Yeah, it's just Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh shit, dope. That's kind of cool.
I thought when he got on, I thought somebody was sitting back there. I didn't want to say nothing, but I thought somebody was sitting back there just
he's
chilling.
got a ship. He's got a wheel too. The whole thing.
He got the whole nine. All right, we're gonna get into the question. Blue is gonna short circuit. Okay, give me 1 second, gentlemen. Let me pull this up. PR songs. Do you guys listen to music in the gym or podcasts?
We've been through this.
We did.
Music.
Yeah.
Music.
I put headphones on to pretend I'm listening to music, but it's mostly to get people to fuck off.
I do.
Hey man.
I do like Machiavelli motivations, you know.
Oh, there you go. You got Compton. Coach Compton, you got Compton over there. That man was full. That's that Increlex pump he has right there. All right.
Oh, yeah.
What's the weirdest thing you've seen competitors do backstage? That's a good one.
I have seen male bodybuilders doing squats and glute kickbacks backstage.
Oh yeah, I think I was training abs the whole night. Yeah.
Everybody's seen the guys who just straight up binge eat right before prejudging, thinking they're just going to get magically full.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've seen somebody doing coke in the Brooklyn show. I seen because they were like the bathroom was open, and there were like two guys and they were doing something on the table. It could have been pre-workout for all I know, but they were like sniffing something. I thought that was weird, but it's Brooklyn, bro. So shit like that happens.
I was a guest one time, and there was a guy backstage with a flask, and he's sitting there just taking shot after shot after shot. I mean, by the time he went on stage, he had to be fucking drunk.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, if you get hyped up on coke before you go, maybe if you're shy or something, that might help you, give you some energy, get you going, maybe. I know people definitely drink vodka before stage. People
Those
smoke
guys
weed.
wouldn't have-
People get high.
You got a lot.
Yeah. Do you get high before stage, Dave?
I smoke a joint, yeah.
Smoke. Zay's always high though. So
I smoke it in the room upstairs in the host hotel, and they can come down to the stage. Yeah.
I can't get high before stage, man. I'm not gonna be able. This was the first time I took a shot of vodka before I hopped on stage, but I forgot that I don't drink anymore. I haven't drunk in a long time, so it hit me kind of hard. And in my head, my posing routine, I completely botched it. I'm like, what the fuck? Because I don't plan it. I kind of freestyle. So I had an idea in my head, and I completely improved it. And I got off it. I was like, what the fuck did I just do? That was embarrassing. And I watched it. I was like, oh, it looks pretty good. I don't, but but in the moment,
loose.
Yeah, I got too loose. So you got to be careful. If you're not used to that, you got to work your way into it. Don't take a whole shot of vodka. Maybe take like a little, little half a shot or something. So, and my legs were kind of shaky. So I don't know. I probably won't do it again. I kept hearing about people doing vodka. I wanted to try it. Anybody else got some weird backstage stories?
Oh, there was I think it was Justin Harris that talked about it one time. I didn't see this, but there was a guy. You can Google this. I'm sure somebody can find it, or you all have heard of it. There's a guy who took a hair dryer.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And he's blow drying his legs because when you're hot and you're warm, you're vascular, right? And that was the purpose behind it, to basically blow dry his body to get it warm, to get vascularity going.
Yeah, that was Dave. That was what's the name? Pulcinella? Which
Dave
one
Pulcinella?
of the?
Okay.
Pulcinella.
Why was I thinking Justin?
Yeah, it was that what's that shit called? That bodybuilding DVD, bodybuilding video they have making the first one that they did before they started doing the Kai Green
Kai
videos
Green
and
ones.
shit.
The one about his brother, right? The one about
Yeah.
his brother. I forget what it's
Which one is the brother? The brother of David, right? The one,
I
right?
think so. Yeah.
Mike is the
Yeah.
so yeah. David that whole video he kept doing it. He got crazy vascular. It did work. It did work. So after him, a lot of other people started doing it. So Justin Harris probably did do it as well. But
Raising
after
the
that
bar.
video, yeah, raising the bar. Yeah, that was a good one. Anybody else got some? It's hard to think because backstage I'm kind of out of it. I don't really.
Dude,
watch people.
sometimes I'm asleep, man, because heavyweights
Yeah.
and supers were last, so I fall asleep backstage. I tune out.
I haven't think much. All right, next one. Craziest food stories, worst off-season diet, weird ways you got calories in, etc. I don't eat too much off-season. I know Justin probably goes crazy with the food off-season. Worst off-season diet. What was your worst off-season diet? Probably 10
Mine?
Yeah.
You mean like calories? When you say worst off-season diet, I'm assuming that just means poor quality, right?
Or I guess either or, like the hardest, whether it's the worst because it's difficult, or it was just disgusting.
Well, I mean, when I was a teenager, man, it was like fast food was my off-season diet because I just didn't know any better. Like protein, Metrex Big 100s.
Yeah, love
I need a
those.
sponsorship for throwing them out there. But like, I used to eat the shit out of those when I was a kid. But like, I think whenever I won my first overall, my food became very, very clean and strategic and planned at that point, and it just motivated the hell out of me to continue going forward. So like, I don't think I really had any really bad off-season like ways of getting calories down. I mean, I would have like pasta, and that's about as bad as it would get. And that was measured out to the gram as well.
Yeah. How about Blue? Did you have a fast metabolism? Did you have to eat a shit ton of food?
When I very first started, my metabolism wasn't that great. But once I put on a lot more muscle, I was getting away with a lot of stuff, I would have to say in the beginning, yeah, I had to be pretty controlled, a lot of cardio. But then once I was, a lot bigger, I mean, I didn't have to do much of anything. I mean, when I first started, I was like a bantamweight, and then at the end when I stopped competing, I was over 200 pounds. I'm only 5'3". So like,
Oh wow. Yeah.
I only had to do like 15, 20 minutes of cardio for prep, and my low days were 500. Midweek was 800, and then my high day was 1200 for carbs. So
I hate you guys, man. I hate
Must be nice, right?
But it wasn't like that in the beginning, though. I mean, when I was a bantamweight, I mean, holy crap, man. I mean, my high day was 150 grams of carbs. So, I mean, I think again, putting on, a lot more muscle, being able to metabolize everything. And obviously, I've always been open about it. I used a lot of growth hormone because I couldn't use much steroids. They always made me kind of feel weird or give me anxiety. So, I was doing, 10, 12, 14 IUs a day of, Serostim or Genos. So, I mean, I could get away with a lot.
Hey, tell them about how you ate your fish.
Oh, for me?
Yeah, when you were in prep.
Oh, I had a couple different ways. Well, I tried the blending. Well, that was, earlier on. I tried the blending, plug in the nose, but then I found a way where my wife would just cook it on she would bake it on a low heat with just salt and pepper, and it was almost like it was dehydrated, and it tasted like bacon. And I would eat it with lemonade Crystal Light, and that was my thing.
Kind of like smoked it, but in an oven.
Yeah, it was really hard. It was very hard. I mean, but man, that's the only way I could do it because I'm not a fish person. But then again, later on, when I was, had a lot more muscle, I was doing tons of steak and, man, I would do 7 to 8 pounds of yams on those high days, and that was just part of my carb intake.
Most bodybuilders say as they gain more muscle, they do less cardio and eat more food. I feel like as I gain more muscle, I need less food.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
I mean, there could be variables there too. Your gut health. I mean, there could be other things besides your metabolism. Why you're not maybe able to process and absorb.
Yeah, I'm still adding tissue, so I haven't been super concerned, but it's a little alarming to me. I'm like,
have you ever got a GI map done?
No, man, no, I haven't got that done. Somebody told me to get a food. Nick told me to get a food allergy test. Yeah, something like that. So. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that could help me see something because like the thyroid.
Some people just like Akeem, for example. I know Akeem diets on nothing. Like he eats nothing to diet.
But he might have an issue too.
Yeah, he could.
That's something because in the past I'll be like, it's because I'm black. I don't eat a lot of food. But that's not a good way to look at it. I mean, yeah, that's not a good way to look at it. I'm like, what if I could be better? What if there's a way I can eat more food and make more progress and not have to, suffer? I don't mind the suffering, but damn shit, it would be nice if, if I could eat a little more food, but so I might have to look into that, the food stuff. You good on time, Blue?
Yeah, I'm fine.
So, all right. I feel greatly.
Yeah, you mentioned Akeem. I'm pretty sure everything that Akeem had to do was like to the absolute extreme to get him in shape. When he won the Tampa, what was this, 2022? It was 2016, right? He won the Tampa in 20. Well, the only reason I remember that very clearly is because he won the Tampa. The following weekend, I won the Golden State, and then me and him had to compete against each other in Hong Kong. But I think Dave talked about it. He had to give the guy like 6 whole diazods as well. Like, I'm pretty sure it was 6 is what Dave said. I was like, oh, fuck, you're lucky you didn't fucking kill him, at that point. But, like, everything was like 2-3 hours of cardio. So, I mean, I can only imagine if the cardio is that high and his food is like 1,000 calories a day, fat burners are probably not mild. And then like you got him using that much diazide, so like everything. I kind of feel bad for Akeem. He might potentially have like the hardest time of any pro getting in shape.
I completely agree with you because I know he diets on legit nothing, like leaves and fucking fish. That's it.
Yeah,
not even vegetables.
Light on the lettuce.
He diets on nothing. So it's kind of crazy. I think that's definitely something I want to keep in my arsenal. Maybe look at a food test because I don't want to have to get to that level. If I need to bring something to the stage.
Dave mentioned before that he was down to like 4 ounces of protein per meal for that last few weeks. That's rough. That's real rough.
Even when he got injured, he had an accident last year or the year before. He was at the Pollen seminar. He was still big. He wasn't even training upper body. He was still massive. So it's like a guy like that, like he doesn't, even if he's not eating anything, it's going to take a while for him to lose any kind of muscle on his frame.
Just fast. He might have to do like a 3-day fast for the last week. All right. Do you guys think this is going to be one of the most competitive years to qualify for the Olympia?
Yeah.
Judging by that New York Pro lineup, it's going to be rough.
It'll be interesting to see how many of those guys do the New York will continue on and do more shows, immediately after or like later in the season or what. But there's a lot of good guys who need to requalify or want to requalify.
Oh, somebody sent me a list because I think we mentioned that in the episode. If I could find it, he sent me a list of all the people who have to qualify, and there were people I wasn't even thinking about, like you said, Akeem. Like we don't even think about that, but there's so many people like the Brett Wilkins and even Andrew. He's taking there's so many. So there's no part of the year that you're gonna have like an easier time because there's gonna be. Like whoever doesn't get the qualification, they're gonna move on and move on and move on. And there's new guys constantly coming to the sport. There's gonna be somebody who's gonna surprise us. Every year there's somebody who we're not thinking about, right? Like, and then some guy calls you, oh, now this guy is a contender. He's a player now. So it's just gonna be.
Is it the top 3 that requalify, or is it the top 5?
Now it's 3.
It's top 3.
Okay, so no. What about Brandon?
Well, he won.
Was Mr. Olympia, but didn't they do away with that rule that you still have to qualify?
No. He's still in place. So I feel like they felt they had to make that rule because think about it. Imagine top 5 qualify, but then you have Brandon Curry, you got Big Ramy, you got Hottie, you got Derek Lunsford. Bro, so now you have the top 9 qualifies. You know what I'm saying? So they almost had to make that rule because even with the top 3 qualifying, you still have 4 other Mr. Olympias.
Hold on. Brandon doesn't need to compete to go to Olympia.
No.
Yeah.
No. We're saying they had to change the rule because you can't have top 5 qualify and then have. We've never had 4. Did we ever have four active Mr. Olympias all competing at the same time? No. So you almost have to change the rules when it's like that because then we're gonna have the same 9 guys in the lineup every year.
What gonna do it this year?
I don't know.
We think so. I mean, but he kind of moved at his own pace. He's training and stuff.
About the guys have to qualify. I mean, you got Hunter who's going to qualify. Crizzos, he's going to be there. I mean, he's going to be a problem for whoever goes against him. Tonio, Ray. I mean, Ray got 9th last year, and he was still off and got 9th. So he's going to be coming back.
Nathan
got hurt, right?
Who?
Yeah, but he's doing better now. He tore his tricep, but he's good now.
I hate to say it. I don't think many people really viewed Hassan as a threat. At least I didn't see it. And the guy has a great physique, but he's another one that just cannot seem to nail conditioning. Yeah, I'm sure we'll see Justin Shire try to qualify again.
I think he's taking the year off
this year.
He's taking the year off.
Okay,
just taking a year off. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Quentin's going to try to qualify. Stu.
Yeah.
You got Stu. You got Carlos.
Martin.
Carlos is Martin. Good Vito.
Tonio. Yeah.
Tonio. These are all Marcelo, Horse MD. These are even newer guys.
Nexzilla.
You know? Nexzilla.
Damn, bro. Holy shit.
A lot of guys.
Peruz, the Iranian guy we were just talking about.
Bro, they never gonna let him in the country at this point. He's just gonna have to, I don't know. He gonna have to do the Arnold UK or something because this man is, I feel bad for him, fucking dieting all year round. And like Compton mentioned earlier, I was gonna say that because he said that show was close and he could have even gave the edge to Samson. Listen, Milo said something on the podcast. He said, I think Tarek asked him about where would Beirut's place. He said, if you take off his head and he's not Beirut's, he can beat most of these guys. And I feel like they kind of just ignored it. But I agree with him, bro. He's like a hottie, but taller, not as dense as hottie, but taller.
He's aesthetic, though.
He's more aesthetic, and he's just as shredded, you know, but he got the crazy shredded glutes, and Hottie doesn't always get this crazy shredded glutes nowadays. So yeah, he's right. If you take off the head, everybody's head, and we're just going first appearance, you know, subconsciously you're gonna want to put the top guys, you know, whatever. Hey man, Beirut is just as good as anybody, man. Like, let's be real. He can beat a lot of guys. There's not very few people who can beat him 100%, you know. And this is him not even knowing if he can compete.
You gotta consider though, like, are they going to be handing out qualifications to people who can't make it? This is a factor for Nathan Diasha. This is a factor for Beirut. Nathan cannot come into this country. Like, he's never going to be able to again.
I don't think so. Bro, it's been like 5 years.
Like, I know he's not going to be able to come in again.
Like, this is just a random, like, I know it's a political question talking about crossing the border, but like, would it actually be possible, like, if these guys were to, like, say, fly to Mexico, like, for real, like, if I was Baruz and I thought, shit, you know, I have a chance at, like, getting top 5 or higher at the Olympia, maybe I would consider it. Like, hey, fuck it, let's fly to Mexico. What are they going to do? They don't arrest you. You get caught. They just tell you to go home.
No, they don't even do that. What you do is you claim asylum at the border. They give you a court date after they process you, which is like 3 years from now, keep in mind. So it's like, it's not even a factor, right? And they're just like, hey, show up 3 years from now to this court date and we'll evaluate your asylum claim. So yeah, you could actually do that. I mean,
hey, Beirut, come here. You could come to LA, stay with me. Come just cross the border. You could, you know, just shack up with me here. I got 2 bedrooms here. Be good to go.
I would legit be looking for illegal ways to enter the country. I mean, you gotta think. I don't think the IFBB is going to give a shit. They're going to let him walk on stage.
We're all criminals, dude. Like, care. Every competitor is a criminal. They don't care.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, everybody's breaking the law. Some more than others. You know what I'm saying? Like Stu over there. But we're all breaking. we all breaking the law. You know. All right. Did any of you guys ever try training legs 3 times a week? Let's say anybody part, because I feel like you guys got good legs. I think all you guys got good legs.
This is prior to doing competitive bodybuilding. I did powerlifting for a little stint, and squatted every day. There was a period of time where I was squatting every single day for about 6 weeks straight leading up to the powerlifting meet. So what's funny is actually when you do it every day, you actually don't get sore after a while. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever tested that out. If you do like legs, if I do legs once a week versus when I was doing legs and squatting every single day, I actually wasn't getting sore. Now, in terms of muscle growth and how that's beneficial, I don't think it's beneficial to do it. Don't do that unless you're doing powerlifting or something. But yeah, I've done it. And yeah, I don't think it benefits anyone to do it more than maybe twice a week. Or
you're also young.
Yeah, I was like what, 19, 20? Yeah.
Yeah, you can recover from anything at 19, but at 31, if you squat every day, you're gonna have a tough time. You have a rough time.
My knees would just be like screeching,
bro. These are going,
man. Like, okay, right now I do legs twice a week, but technically it's a quad day with, let's say I do 4 quad movements and like two hamstrings, 1 glute. And then on hamstring day, I do like, 3 hamstring, 2 glute, and like 1 or 2 quad exercises. if on that second leg day I push the quad workout a little too heavy, that Monday quad workout, my knees are done, man. So I got to mitigate, like really manage that fatigue properly. 3 times a week. Maybe if you're training like super slow and controlled, like the new age training, maybe you can get away with that. Away with that. Like Mark Hector, I believe said he trains like 3 times a week. But if you watch him train, he's training like in slow motion, like I'm talking about like every rep is like a minute. So I could see how you can get away with that and your knees not hurt, So anybody else train a body part 3 times a week?
No. I tried training legs twice a week. I can get away with hamstrings twice a week, and I did do that probably more than half my career. But quads, when I tried to do twice a week on that, for one, I didn't need it. I was just obsessed and wanted it. But I couldn't do it because it was either patellar tendonitis or actual quadricep tendonitis. But like my knees were just done. Like it would get to the point where I didn't even want to like squat down to put my shoes on. I just bend over to put my shoes on.
Yeah.
So, and it got to the point where it was like it would just burn. Like it felt like someone had a blowtorch to my knees, and I figured I'm going to blow something out sooner or later if I keep it up. Yeah. So I just couldn't do it. Everything else, I could go twice a week, probably 3 if I wanted to, but twice was enough for me.
I know Zay trains legs 3 times a week, right, Zay?
Never, dude. Never. I never ever tried it. Never will. I do legs once a week, maybe twice a week during prep. And I feel it's enough, dude. If you go hard, you need 6 days to recover from a good leg day. Well,
Zay, you don't got to train legs at all. You can train legs twice a month if you wanted to. How about Mr. Blue?
I haven't trained in a long time.
Oh,
I haven't been to the gym in years. I don't leave my house. I haven't been to shows in years. I do want to lift again. I think once I have more time in the future, if that's a possibility, then yeah, I want to, but back in the day, I think the recovery is so important. If you're truly just killing your legs, it's twice a week. It's going to be very rare. But I think it's doable, especially if you're hitting, differently. Whether it's volume or reps or the style. If it's because I have some guys that'll do entire just squat days, just murder squats. And then the other day, they'll come back to machines and touch them up and stuff like that. I think if you can cheat the system, you can get away with it. But, again, depends on the individual if they're recovering properly and if they're developing right.
Whoever asked this question, they're probably asking because they have shitty legs. So if you have shit legs, it might be because you don't know how to recruit your quads properly. Or squat properly,
Simple as that. It's like this, right? More shit doesn't make anything, but like perfect practice makes better, right? It makes perfect. It's like if you're shooting a jump shot fucking like this, and then you shoot that jump shot, 500 shots a day, are you going to become a better jump shooter? No, you got to fix your form, right? So if you're not training legs correctly, doing 3 incorrect workouts won't grow your legs. Doing 1 correct workout would grow your legs better. And then maybe you can touch it up a little bit on one day if that's needed. But that might not even be needed, For my legs were way behind because I was a really heavy squatter. And I was just squatting really heavy weights and my legs did not grow. And, I tried twice a week. I tried, even 3 times a week, I tried a little bit. But it didn't make a difference until I actually changed my form. Compton taught me that like sometimes I might have to even push through my toes and make it almost like a sissy leg press, almost like a sissy squat kind of movement, just to make sure my quads are working because like my glutes would take over or whatever. And yeah, my quads are better now than they were. They still have a ways to go, but I can feel it. I can connect with it, and my teardrop is, the whole nine. So better workouts before you try to do more frequency, always, right? I think everybody here would agree.
Yeah, because speaking with that, what was funny for me, with squats and my legs like started improving. Maybe it's just me personally, but because I kind of learned squatting from a powerlifting style, I noticed that my legs weren't growing when I was doing just a regular free weight squat because I would explode at the bottom.
Exactly.
So when I actually moved to squatting with the Smith machine, it kind of prevented me from doing that a lot. And I started to see a lot better growth in my legs. So that's why I just do Smith over just a regular free weight squat. I just recruit better on that. So find movements that you're able to feel and contract a little bit more and see if that benefits you in the long run. Not everyone has to do, the same exercises. If you don't like a hack squat, try a squat. If it doesn't work, try something else.
How do you get your arms back on the Smith machine?
Me?
Like your hands, you have to grab the bar. You can do it?
You can get your fingertips under there.
As far as it goes.
How do you twist it? Did somebody twist it for you?
No, I twisted myself.
Well, you can kind of like put it up on your traps, and then when
put it on your traps and then
roll it into the position.
There's zero chance. Zero chance.
Really?
Like too big, bro. You're too big.
The most I can do like two, but I can't twist it off.
Do this.
It's just bad range of motion, I guess. I don't know, but
that shit didn't even move 1 second like this.
Yeah, but even if I try, like I get a lot of pain. Like I can't externally rotate very very good on the free weight bar. If I warm up my shoulders, I can hold it, but I'm barely holding it. I wouldn't be able to twist it, But even then, huh?
Time to call Queen of Pain, bro. Need some mobility work.
Yeah.
You could do that thing that people do with the straps too, where they wrap it around the bar, kind of hold it out here as if it was a safety bar.
I did try. I tried it once, but when I had training partners, I would have people that can unlock it for me. I just don't want to bother people to come twist it for me. Sometimes I don't really want to talk to people at the gym, But
was it an issue like where you couldn't actually get your shoulders back, like your hands back far enough?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I went through it off and on throughout my career, man. And, they mentioned mobility work here for you, and that's what I would recommend. John Quint worked on me a few times. He's out of Columbus, so probably not close to any of you guys. But he went in through like my subscat, into the pec, even into my neck and stuff. And I remember the next day I was able to actually squat properly. But my shit was so bad that when I would do a free weight squat, the little the groove in the bar, it's like right in the dead center of the bar. I'd kind of like line my head up. I'm like, okay, I got to get under here. Then I would take my hands and I would slide the fucking weights over. Like I'd put them on all the way and I'd slide them over. And I'm just like holding this thing like way out here. And obviously it kind of makes you a little uneasy with it, but that's how I had to do it a few times.
Yeah, I've seen somebody leave like a space on the plates and put a clip so they can grab the bar.
That's basically what I was doing. I was just pushing the plates out some.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
The further the plates go out when you have a lot of weight, this is why I hated doing it. Anything past 405, the bar bends, right?
It will, yeah.
So when you see a guy doing whatever and the bar's not bending with 405, it's probably fake fucking plates. But like, unless you have one of those Texas squat bars, it's like 60 pounds. I don't think they bend very much.
No.
But yeah, when you've got like 6 plates on there, 6 or 7 plates aside, and you're pushing them out, every time that you drive up, it's almost like you can feel like the bar is kind of like bounce on your back a little bit. And I hated that.
When I used to squat like really heavy, I would squat every week. So I kind of mastered the timing. And then when the bar would coil and spring back up, I would use the momentum to pull me, and I would rep it out. So if there's a video of me repping 6 plates, and I'm doing like the Ronnie Coleman reps, I'm not locking out, and I'm kind of just I'm using the bounce, and I'm kind of, and it looks like I'm just repping out 6th place. It's like, what the fuck? That's crazy. But I'm kind of using the weight as well, to bounce. Okay, let's do a couple more. Everybody's good on time?
I actually have to get off here. But I wanted to tell you thank you for having me on and everything.
Thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. I'll come on again in the future. But yeah, thank you for having me on, and you guys take care.
Hell yeah,
good
we'll
to
do,
you,
brother. Nice to see you.
Talk soon.
Oh, bye.
Everybody else good? Good to go?
Good.
All right.
I got to eat at like 2:30.
You could push it back to 3.
Motherfucker. Pay me.
Where are you at right now? I thought you were like in Central Time.
Oh, I used to live in Arizona, but I'm in Washington now. So
okay, yeah.
It's almost 6 here. It's like 5:15.
Yeah. You want to go grab something to eat, Ken?
No, I ate right before this. We were actually on with Robin, Zayd, and I, so I ate right after that. So I'm gonna eat again.
Oh, what time? What time were you on? I thought he did it late.
It was 12.
10 a.m.
At 1
LA
1
time,
p.m.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Dope. I like that guy. I like Robin.
You're being unfaithful. I did the same thing on Wednesday, so it's all right.
Yeah. Bitey started it, so
I did it too. Yeah, I did it too. But now I'm not good at being on a podcast because I just talk too much. So I feel like I fucking hijacked the whole podcast. I just kept going. Nobody stopped me. I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna just keep fucking cracking jokes all day. All right. What's the highest you've ever ran your test at? We should have this guy on, Eric Konevsky on for this one. I don't
crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean to put it modestly, yeah, he's done some other stuff. But the thing
this is off topic. We don't even have to talk about it now. But maybe later. I got to hear the story because I know you were friends with Eric, right?
Yeah, still to this day, he like my neighbor. He's down the block.
I want to know what the deal with him and that shithead Cassidy Campbell.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I got to know what the beef is between the two because I know Eric actually showed up at an event he did and just clowned the shit out of it. I thought it was hilarious because Cassidy just choked on stage and all he could come up with was a steroid joke.
Yeah. No. At that point, he had a lot of reason to believe that Cassidy had something to do with his channel being taken down, which is his livelihood. He literally makes like a full-time living off that. So at that point, he wanted to, and they were friends, right? I mean, for me, I'm a lot older than Eric as well, so I could see like the way Cassidy was around him. He was very jealous of Eric. Very jealous, and Eric didn't have the social cues to pick that up. He's just a young guy. I think he kind of looked up to Cassidy, even though he surpassed Cassidy by far now, but at that point, so he was always a snake, like doing weird shit behind his back, and then apparently he had a lot of bots and shit, and I think they mass reported his channel or whatever, and he got taken down. And Eric wanted to kill him. He wanted to show up to his house and shoot him. At the time, he was in Texas, so technically he could, but I kind of talked him down from it. So he used it to make a video, which is better. So he basically punked him and Cassidy was telling everybody, I'm gonna beat him up, I'm gonna fight him. And Eric showed up, he's like, fight me. He's like, oh bro, but you're like 300 pounds. He's like, I was 300 pounds when you said he wouldn't fight me. I'm still 300 pounds. Let's do it. And Cassidy, he didn't want that. He didn't want those problems, Eric got balls. I'll give him that. Eric got balls on him. He got balls. Sometimes I'm scared for him. I'm like, yo, somebody's gonna pull up to you, man. Be careful. He's like, I'll be all right.
Cassie's so annoying, dude. His content is just fucking annoying.
I can't watch it.
Not even that creative. Eric's is kind of creative, but
yeah. I don't consume pranks, but
I don't either. But
when it's like the expo stuff, I find it entertaining because we're bodybuilders. So when he does the scale thing, I kind of like to see how people react because.
That was good. That was very good.
Because the funny part is, how many people just say no, and then there's no video, and he just walks away. You can just say, you can just say no, right? Let's say if you don't want to weigh yourself, you can literally, Compton could be like, nah, I don't want to weigh myself. He'll be, oh, nice to meet you, Justin. Big fan, and walk away. Like people think he's like literally trying to fight you with. He's literally just asking you to weigh yourself. You can just say, nope, I don't want to do it. But then people get riled up and the whole nine, and then it gets crazy, bro. And it's such a simple question.
Content.
Huh?
That's when he's getting his content.
Yeah.
Exactly. But he knows that bodybuilders are weird when it comes to weight. So he does know, he doesn't have to instigate it. He knows that somebody's gonna act crazy. He did a video and it was all positive and he posted it. And people still liked it, So it's like it can be positive. It's just that it never really goes that way.
I don't get that, man. Why are you so obsessed with like being heavy? Like it's cool to be heavier. Like I would be I don't more really care because I've always been on the heavier side, in the off season stuff. But like to have it like tied to your self-worth and identity like that, it's so weird.
It would be more impressive if you were like Tonio and you could be like, hey, I'm exactly. 210. I'm 210, but I look bigger than you. That's more impressive than saying I'm 300 pounds, but you look like you're 230. I don't understand the correlation.
I feel like the guys who say no, though, are the ones who inflate the numbers by 15, 20 pounds, and they don't want to get caught.
Of course.
They say it doesn't fucking matter. I mean, I'm with you. It's like I would rather somebody look at me and be like, "How much you weigh, man? 300?" I'm like, "Nah, like 245, 250 range, somewhere in that." Like, I would rather be that guy rather than the guy that says, "What do you weigh?" Like 250. I'm like, "No, I'm actually 305."
This makes no sense, man. Because like fighters, right? Like there's really light guys that would kick the ass of really big dudes, right? So like it doesn't, being heavier doesn't necessarily make you tougher or anything. And in a bodybuilding context, being lighter and looking bigger is cool. So what, I mean,
I don't know. Like I would almost expect that reaction if he was like, hey, with a microphone and he's like, hey, what steroids do you take? I could see you being like, bro, do I fucking know you? But it seems like such a simple
like Cassidy
question.
does that. Cassidy does that, and it's fucking weird. Like he just walks up to strangers, like, "What's your cycle?" Like, man, first of all, you don't even look like you lift weights. Why are you asking me this?
Yeah. Well, there was a time he was
that camera's rolling, and he's not going to catch hands because of that camera rolling.
Yeah, good point. Unless he goes to like the wrong area, he might catch stuff. All right. The question was, with the most tests you've ran. Let's start with Zalo.
Zalo. 1,200. I've tried 1,200 a week. I think it was a bit too much for my size, and I feel like the sweet spot is a gram per week. Yeah.
Also, on this podcast, if we say try, we actually mean try. We don't mean this is the real cycle and then we're gonna lie to you. So when I say what I've tried, that's not what I do. It's just something that I did try a high test before, but I don't do that regularly. Let's go, Stu.
Yeah. I'm the same. I think this offseason I was between 1,000 and 1,200. The highest I've done is like 1,250, split between like an enthate and probe. So, I mean, yeah, nothing crazy.
Yeah. Blue. He prefers high GH, not as high anabolics and androgens, which I kind of agree with that. I think it's like a better look and feel. Let's go, Ken.
My highest was Graham, and this was prior to working with Andrew. Actually now it's actually less. So he actually has me between 750 and 800 usually, but the highest was a gram that I did prior.
Okay. Hey Stu, didn't you quit? Didn't you quit vaping on the last podcast?
I was gonna say.
I'm not sorry.
Let's go, Compton.
I've done 1,500 for one cycle before. I think 1,000 to 1,200 was my sweet spot. So I did that in it was like the end of 2013. And then after that, it was between 1,000 and 1,200. Made me feel, even at 1,200, man, I felt a little lethargic, like I was sluggish.
Yeah.
It's almost like an overload of hormone per se in my system. Just didn't. I feel a lot more functional on TRT than I do on the cycle.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about how you feel, yeah, TRT is the best feeling, I think. Besides, like maybe like if I'm training really heavy, the soreness, but mood and appetite and digestion,
that's what I meant.
By far the best on TRT.
1500 was just way too much, for me to handle.
And this is coming from like a really fucking big dude, guys who are listening. Like Justin was ginormous, and you're not. So, like, I mean, even a gram is probably too much for a lot of people. Like, if I'd done that when I was 21 or 22, a gram would have been too much. Like 600, 750, probably better. And that's what I did back then. I'm much more comfortable using more now because I'm way bigger.
Yeah. You don't have to. Gear isn't like, it's not like calories. You don't have to titrate it every cycle. Now, to some extent, if your first cycle was 300 or 500, at some point you're going to work your way up, but it doesn't have to continue to work its way up for the rest of your career. Like, come on, like, what the?
I mean, he left. Go ahead.
My body always kind of responded very well to what I threw at it. That being said, I'm not going to sit here and pretend. I mean, because when you're fighting to be Mr. Olympia, you're assuming that you're not going to die. Most likely you're going to, if somebody says, hey, add a little this, add a little that, you're probably going to do it, right? So if my body ever got to a point where it was like, shit, like I'm still getting out muscled, I'm still getting outsized, I still got to be bigger, I probably would have bit the bullet and just bumped it on up and did what I had to do, but I didn't have to do that.
Yeah. You know who I gained even more respect for Phil Heath when he was on a podcast, and the guy asked him, how much gear did you on? And he said, I like to cruise around 1500 and I tried 1750. I didn't expect him to say that much, honestly, because I'm like, Phil is just a freak of nature. So I was actually taken aback. But then he's being honest, because
wait, is he talking about milligrams per week or his level of testosterone?
No, the MIGs a test. He was talking about tests in particular.
50 what? Are you sure about that?
I'm positive. So in my head, I'm like, I thought I would have believed Phil if he said he was on 300 pro, because it's fucking Phil. So I'm surprised. I appreciate his honesty, because I don't think most people would have admitted that. But I was honestly kind of shocked. I thought Phil was running like a gram at most, because
I figured it was around that range.
Oh yeah, he did.
He doesn't.
I figured it was like
so Beatty, are you saying his total gram usage or just test?
Just test alone. So am I the only one that found that a little bit surprising? Because
you said he likes to cruise on 1500 to 1750.
No, not cruise, like his actual cycle.
Okay.
No, he said he tried 1750. He didn't like it. He felt like he went the other direction. But 1500 was like the highest he would go. And I honestly thought he would be even lower than that, just because it's Phil and the way. Yeah. But 1500 is fair. I think a lot of pros do 1500. I don't think that's anything crazy. Like I said, I just assumed that Phil was such a freak, which he is. I'm sure he probably would have looked the same on the gram.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you ask most like Olympians, I feel like they wouldn't say exact doses, and if they did, they wouldn't want to say the high end. They would. Early in his career, he was probably doing less. Some people might rather say what they did early in the career rather than the most they did. But I definitely respected the honesty. Now,
considering what he turned pro on, I thought 1500 would be really, really high for him, because the guy turned pro on like what, 400, 500.
He said it. He said it on the podcast as well. I don't remember what he said, but it was pretty mild. He said he didn't have any money.
It's been very consistent throughout the years of like everyone that I've ever spoken to that's been in his circle. I remember like him and Factory were good friends. And I remember me and Fact, when we sat down in 2011, this was before Phil ever won his first Olympian. And he told me, we were talking about gear in general. And I was like, well, do you want me to ever add this, or, we kind of bounced some ideas. He's like, no, Justin, you really don't need all that shit. I was like, okay, like fact kept me on the right path, thankfully. And he's like, you want to know what Phil took when he won the USAs and he beat me? And I was like, sure, what? And he told me, I was kind of like almost in disbelief. But then when I hear that story from the right people, from Farrah's talked about it before, like, yeah, it's pretty legit.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Phil when he played basketball. I have a good hunch that the guy probably just did like bench press, push-ups, and some curls, and he could probably win any regional show just playing basketball.
When it comes to people like Phil, there's almost no scenario that he doesn't become one of the greatest. Like if he worked with a different coach, or if he never did insulin, or if he did, it almost is almost irrelevant at that point.
He was going to be Olympian no matter what.
Exactly. Like we say about Ronnie. Like we say about Ronnie, if Ronnie would have trained like Justin Shire, or like more of like the slow, he probably would have been healthier, that's for sure. But I think it's irrelevant. Ronnie would have been Ronnie regardless of what the fuck he did.
Yeah, but he would have been like Ronnie, like, yeah, buddy, Ronnie. That's why we love him,
He wouldn't have been your buddy. But like Ronnie, basically, it's hard to say trained wrong because he's Ronnie, but yeah, if we're being technical, anybody else trains like that doesn't do very well, but Ronnie could do it.
Speak for Blue,
do they though? I mean, if you trained like Ronnie, maybe not his weights, if you don't get injured, you're gonna do pretty well. If your body can handle it.
Well,
yeah, but it's like, keep in mind, like he was slinging those weights around sometimes with sloppier form, but like I think he knew how to recruit muscles. Otherwise, it wouldn't have grown. So like you can look sloppy and like you're throwing shit around, but like you can still have a connection with stuff, I mean, it worked for Branch.
His form was always a little bit like bouncing things around, and Juan was an incredibly big ass guy too in person.
Yeah. It is more so of like, if it's not working, then fix it, right? If you're training like Ronnie and you have no back, then you have to figure some shit out. You know what I'm saying? But if it's working, that's why like I don't believe in telling Branch to train different, because it's like it works.
You don't tell Branch anything. Like
no.
And there's also something you gotta train with how you enjoy it, man. That's the part people always forget. Like you gotta have a training style that you actually enjoy. If you don't enjoy the whole slow pause reps and like the Shire style of training, even if you're not gonna sustain that, long term. So you got to train in a relatively safe way and in a way that you enjoy. I think people forget that. That's also something that's part of the equation, because you're going to have to do this for a very long time.
I did try that style of training and I was miserable. I did it for like the entire rebound phase and a little bit of the cruise phase, so maybe like 12 weeks, because I was banged up, man. My knees, everything was banged up. I was like, this would be a good time to try it. I got a great pump, but I didn't feel anything better or a better connection. Some people do. I didn't. I didn't. I think it's important to preface that. At the USA's, I think it was me, Joe, Janicki, and Nick Walker, and we were talking about training. Janicki trains like really slow as well, and me and Joe don't train like that. And then Nick is like, "Yeah, you're gonna feel so much better." Janicki said the same thing, and I was like, "But what if I told you I tried it and it didn't feel better?" And then Nick was like, "Okay, if you tried it and it doesn't feel good, don't do it." And I think that's a good way to think, because I can tell you there's nothing better than pendulum squats, and you do it. If you don't feel it, you don't connect with it, it's irrelevant how many other people feel it. So if I'm doing fucking super slow rows and my biceps are pumped and my back isn't really connecting, why would I continue to do it that way? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about you guys, but like when I'm like going through my warm-up sets, right? Like I don't even feel a connection, especially with back movements. Like I don't feel a connection with the muscle until I'm at like 70% load of my working weight. So say I'm doing pull downs like 280. I don't feel shit until I'm at like 240 while I'm warming up. Like it's just I'm going through the motion, like okay. But like to actually like get myself locked in and drive my elbows down and feel my lats, like I can't feel it with the lighter weight. So I like when I see people doing it with like, you know, a 200-pound pull down or something, they weigh like 250. I'm like, how are you even connecting here? Like I don't like that at all. I mean, I'm still moving with control and like, but like the super light shit, I don't like it at all.
I was kind of in the middle. Like when it come to back training, if I got going too heavy, you could video me and you could say his form is textbook perfect, but I didn't feel shit. I think probably like just for random number's sake, you know, 100 pounds for 10 reps is the absolute most weight I could possibly use. I feel like I would get more pump, more squeeze, more feel with like 80 instead of like 80% of what my maximum capacity was.
On back in particular?
On back, yeah. I mean, I guess it would apply to the same like with chest, but I never really tried to do chest from like a powerlifting perspective. Like if you start engaging your lats and, you know, really start driving with your shoulders and your lats, sure, you'll move more weight, and the average eye is not even going to be able to notice your change in your form there. But if I keep it strictly on my chest, I mean, yeah, it's probably around 80% of what I'm capable of there too.
Yeah, I think back training, that's the one thing that that's the newest thing for me this off season, like actually backing off weights. And I'm actually feeling a lot of a better contraction than I used to have before. Cause I would load up 3 plates and do rows and, you know, I wasn't feeling shit. But now, like using actual lighter weights, I kind of feel like maybe my form wasn't, maybe to recruit the muscle that I needed, maybe it wasn't textbook perfect. And I was just going up in progressive overload. So I was just progressing with bad form. But I feel like now I'm kind of starting from scratch, and I feel so much better contractions from relatively lighter weights compared to what I was using in the past.
So eventually though, like you need to work those weights up until you hit that threshold where like, oh, I can't feel it anymore, but this is pretty heavy now. Like I think I've kind of found that balance pretty good, because when I'm doing a heavy pull down, like I'm driving my elbows, I can feel my lats working, we're good, right? But you know, if it's too light, I can't feel it. If it's too heavy, then yeah, I'm just jerking shit around, and it might not look like I'm, you know, training belligerently from, you know, third person perspective, but like I can tell like this is not all on my lats and doing weird shit to like hunch the weight down, and it's not doing what it's supposed to do.
I was gonna say, they're the threshold you have to find. Like Compton said, if I'm doing dumbbell rows, right, I think everyone that's been training for long enough with decent strength, decent size, you can go row to 200-pound dumbbells, and I could probably get fucking 15 reps with it. Now that being said, do I feel like I'm getting my lats or upper back, whatever I'm trying to train with the rows? Do I feel like I'm stimulating it most effectively with 200? Not at all. When I go 150s, 160s, anywhere from 150 to 170s, still heavy, but I feel my back light up way more. So just because I can pull the 200s for what on camera appears to be pretty good form or good form doesn't mean it's the best bet for growing my back. But same thing like Stu said, sometimes I don't actually feel the muscle fire until I'm doing a decently heavy weight. So if I did it with the hundreds and try to do this perfect textbook form with the hundreds, I actually don't feel it at all. Yeah. So, you know, so
you can feel the muscle like shortening as you're doing the rep, but it's like, I don't know what it is. It feels like it's choppy almost, like your muscle wants to fire as hard as it can, but in order to maintain that slow tempo with that lower weight, it's like you know, it's only recruiting, you know, 60% when you really want to, you know, load up heavy enough where you're using good form and recruiting 100%, but not overdoing it.
You can get a superficial pump. Like if I did air squats and did 100 squats, I can get a crazy pump on my quads, but it's a superficial pump. I don't feel what's the word Stu used? I don't feel like I like completely activating my quad. It doesn't. It feels superficial. I don't know how to explain it. It feels like a superficial pump. It feels like fatigue and blood volume. It doesn't feel like I'm really breaking down my fucking quads right now.
The
if
contraction
I do,
is not as it's not a deep contraction.
Well,
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
load can't be faked, right? Like we're
Right.
mechanical creatures, and you have a lat attached to your arm that goes to your spine. And like if you're pulling 100 pounds down on your pull downs, like it's just physics. Like there's only so much load that can actually go through your lat when you're doing that. So like you need that mechanical load through the muscle. So, increase the weight as much as you can, reaching that threshold like we're talking about. But yeah, you can't fake load, and load is really important for growing.
Yeah. So yeah, you just gotta find that threshold. Like I said, same way. You can get it superficial. If I told you hold your arms like this with a 5-pound dumbbell for 30 seconds, you will get a shoulder pump. But are you gonna build bigger shoulders? I don't believe so. So don't just say, well, let me just go super light and try to get crazy blood volume in a pump. That's not everything. That's part of getting a pump is a good indicator that muscle is being used at least, but that's not the end all be all. I would rather you reach mechanical failure to some point. You gotta make sense.
We were talking about test dosages earlier. Blue left already, but Blue, when he was as heavy as he was like 5'2", 5'3", and he got up to like over 250. And the only thing that he was using was like 300 mg of prop. He couldn't use any other esters because they'd like make him feel weird. And like he'd do like 100 mg of anadrol off and on. That was like all he took. And then shitloads of growth hormone and insulin, right? But like, I mean, anabolics wise, he just couldn't do anything else. So he's like, okay, I like these two things. We'll just push these, not even high, and that's what worked for him.
I didn't answer the question. For me, similar to you guys, I think a gram. I think a gram is a sweet spot. A gram is where I feel all the benefits with no side effects. I don't even need like AIs when I'm on a gram. I could just go my estrogen, my estradiol, my blood work. It won't get out of range. I won't get gyno. I don't get. Well, I might get a little watery, but nothing crazy, and it's good for my joints. So anything over that is when, let's say 1500. Do I get better results? I can't really quantify. I can't say I do. Maybe I'm a little fuller, but I lose it anyways if I'm dieting. So I don't think that's real tissue.
But the question was, what is the highest?
Should I say it again on the podcast? I feel like people just
only hear dumb shit with or without.
Be honest, Beatty.
Yeah. We can't help them.
I pushed it when I was with Oregon. I pushed it pretty fucking high. I was going through 3 grams of test alone, and obviously anything over 2 grams. Did my scale weight go up? Yes, but it wasn't muscle. It was literally just some fullness and water weight. And then when I diet for the show, I gotta reduce the test or come off the test, or I'm just gonna be soft as shit. So you take out the test completely, and you lose that extra 5 pounds of fullness that wasn't really muscle to begin with. So you put yourself in a hole health-wise as far as blood work just to lose that 5 pounds anyways is pointless.
Did your blood pressure go crazy high when you were like doing that?
It did. I was in my early 20s at the time, so I didn't monitor it myself. But when I would go get the blood work, maybe like after prep, it would be high. How high? I can't remember exactly, but it wasn't a range. It wasn't a range. So, it's kind of pointless, man. If you can't gain muscle on a gamma test in the off season, I think you're not doing your job. I think
there's something wrong.
Yeah. It's not the drugs, trust me. It's not the drugs that's holding me back. it's something else. It's most likely your diet is some kind of structure. If you don't have a coach, it's probably, I mean, you probably need the coach to give you that structure. It is not the drugs. The drugs are not what's holding you back, right? So
how many times though have you guys encountered people who that's the first thing they want to talk to you about is the drugs, but when you start talking to them about diet and training, and they say, "Oh yeah, I've got that," but
always.
then when you actually watch them train, you realize you ain't got shit. You got nothing. Like you train horribly, and then you like say you go follow them on Instagram or something like that. I'm talking about just like random Joes that you meet in the gym that, again, looking for drug advice.
So like not
And then you
clients,
realize
just
they
guys.
party all weekend and they're eating out every fucking day. But yet you tell me to my face that you have your diet right. I'm like, yep. Cool.
No, yeah. Anybody, literally any person who leads with the drugs and says that, no, I'm good with the diet and training, I just need help with the drugs, literally 99% of the time is the complete opposite.
The opposite.
They're taking.
I think that, I mean, at least with clients that have come to me and people in the gym, like if they know me and my personality at all, they know I'm just like, I'm not going to tolerate that shit. I'm going to put them on blast as soon as they start talking about drugs, like right off the bat, which is good. It keeps them away.
Yeah. In my experience, right, top level national bodybuilders, pro bodybuilders, when we get together, we don't even talk about this shit. It's no different from your 6 meals. It's no different from your training. It's just part of the game, right? When people are so focused on that stuff, I kind of feel like these guys, they're still missing the big picture. Like everything else is still in disarray. You haven't even they haven't even crossed the box on their, like Justin said, training, diet, their sleep. Your girlfriend broke up with you. You're out of the gym for 6 months, and now you came back, and now you want to just hop on tests. Like,
so many
there's a lot of inconsistency. You know,
so many of
there's
my
a lot of
clients just quit when their girlfriend dumps them. I'm like, you pussy!
Yeah.
Like, this is the best time to make progress.
Literally, 100%, bro. The only reason I know you guys cycles, including Justin, is from doing the podcast. Look at our group chat. When do we talk about? We don't talk about drugs. Like we don't,
because we're all doing the same shit. You know,
Exactly.
it's so boring. Hey, Beatty has to take a bunch of AIs. That's about the only difference. You know, like
but it's not that deep to us because it's just a variable like anything else. We don't obsess over, hey, how many sets reps you doing, Stu? It's almost, you know, these things are not as important as you think, right? So same thing. Oh, what do you think? EQ Deca Primo or Primo Deca Master?
Oh, those are my favorite questions when people drop in your like question box. I'm like,
oh my God.
I don't know what the fuck anything about you. Like,
yeah,
what?
That is not what's stopping you from getting your pro card. It's not.
There's professionals out there that literally would like they just like take whatever they got in their gearbox, fucking swish it around, and like they'll take like a cc a day or something. It's just like whatever they have on hand. You know, they're not thinking about this stuff, and they're still world-class dudes.
How many people that happens with some of Compton's clients? How many people I ran out of growth. I'm not gonna run it for the rest of the offseason. And they're still making more progress than the guy who's asking you about all these drugs. Like it's never that deep. Money's low. Let me drop the Anadrol.
You never run out of growth, though. That's a cardinal sin.
I don't run out of fucking growth.
Yeah.
But
you know, it's funny you guys are talking about that. I mean, like I've had throughout my career, my journey, you know, I've had some one-on-one phone calls, just me and the other person, with now 2 Mr. Olympias, that those phone calls lasted over 2 hours. Not one time did drugs ever come to the topic. Not one single time. You know, every time I would do like a tour of shows, like with the I'll say tour of shows. It's always the Arnold. It's the one I always pick. But all the guys will be together, and it's literally just all the top pros, and we never discussed that. It was just like life. You know, we didn't talk about chicken and rice. We didn't talk about fucking barbell rows. And we didn't talk about BD insulin syringes or anything like that. It was literally everything outside of bodybuilding. We literally did not care what the guy beside of us was doing.
Yeah.
Because that's all you do all day, every day. It's like, give me a break. I want to talk about sports or something. Like, fuck, man.
Do you know how rejuvenating it or so refreshing it is when, because especially in my gym, right? Like when people come up to you, it's always the same question. So you're big. What do I do to grow this? You know how refreshing it is when someone comes up to you and just asks you maybe some random shit like, "Oh, have you seen this TV show or some shit?"
People
you know,
become my friends. Like
me too.
Without fail, like they become my friends.
It's
I remember back when I was younger, I had crotch rockets and stuff, and like when people would come up to me and ask me about my bikes, it's like now all of a sudden we're gonna have a real conversation.
Yeah,
like it's not gonna like when you come up and ask me about something gear or drug related. I mean, I'm probably gonna side eye you a little bit and give you a bullshit answer and just walk away.
Because the levels are like, you know, you're so way up here, right? And they have no idea where to even begin this conversation.
Yeah.
So like, and there's so much you'd have to like explain in the meantime. Like you can't have the conversation really, even if you wanted to.
Yeah. If you look at our group chat, it's just nonsense, literally nonsense. You know, like I don't know what the fuck we be talking. We just talking about just stupid shit. Like it's so all over the place and random, especially me, because sometimes like I'll be sitting at home late and I just start just sending just random as shit to the group chat. But it's never what people think bodybuilders talk about. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's do like one more, two more. About to be 3 hours.
One more.
One more, dude. I'm sweating.
I gotta get
look at him. It's time.
I feel like I gotta make it a good one now.
Hey, real quick, Ken, the picture on your wall behind you with the bear and the face, is that your face?
Yeah, that's actually my face. Yeah.
I thought it was.
Yeah, it was actually a photograph that was merged with a grizzly bear. So it's like it was actually a funny thing because this is way before, like even back in college. My friends, it was always like winter. When winter came, I'd be like, all right, guys, I'll see you guys when spring starts, because everyone knows me. I stay at home, I go to the gym, I go to the grocery store, that's it. So that was kind of a spin on that, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, the nose and the mouth line up very well, actually.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Can we get a close up on that? Are you on computer?
Yeah. Let's see if I can get you my mic. You see it?
Wait, let's see if we. No, your head's in the way.
Your head is the way a little bit.
You see it?
I see it better. I see it.
What's
better.
that picture to the right of it, though? Like,
oh, that's just like some painting, some bullshit painting.
Is that some kid's artwork?
No,
yeah,
it's
it looks
from,
like kid artwork.
You know when you go to like one of those wine and paints and shit?
Yeah, I've never been to one of those, Ken.
Yeah, come on, bro. You gotta take your girl.
God, you're whiter than me. Fuck.
Valentine's Day, bro. Valentine's Day is coming up, bro. Take your girl. Come on.
Right.
All right, let's do. I just had a good question. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna get there. Okay.
I got a random quick one if you could throw it in, because this would be
Of
really
course.
fast.
Of course.
This is not bodybuilding related.
Mm-hmm.
If take like your call log, your text, your Safari, your calendar, and your email and WhatsApp, exclude those.
Okay.
Pick 5 apps. That's all you can have on your phone.
Oh.
Just 5 apps. What do you got?
Exclude your call logs. You said exclude your call logs, WhatsApp,
you look at your phone,
email.
Like you got your call log, your text message, Safari at the bottom, your calendar at the bottom. That's how I have mine set up.
Yeah.
You get your email in there. Exclude those because I feel like those are pretty. We all use that.
Mandatory. Yeah.
Yeah. So outside of those,
what about
what's your
photos and
five
like
apps?
camera? Is camera?
Yeah, camera comes with the phone. You know,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
I would put the camera.
Chase Bank, because I got to keep track of my money. Chase
Bank, definitely bank. Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Quick pay, all that. Nowadays, I kind of promote my business. I guess now I'm getting more clients from YouTube than Instagram.
I've gotten
So I might have
too.
Yeah, I might have to keep YouTube. I don't need Instagram. I just post the same fucking workout every day. It's the same shit. Like,
How you gonna stay up to date though, with things going on in the
YouTube?
industry?
Nick the Power guy. Nah, Nick Strength and Power. Nah, I'll just watch Nick Strength and Power and I'll stay up to date. Yeah, I think YouTube, Chase Bank. I'm good. I don't need anything else. I'm good to go. Let's do it.
What about your notes app? Am I the only one who just takes notes?
Yeah,
I take a lot of notes.
I'm jotting shit down all the time.
Yeah, because I would say my notes app, I use that even for check-ins and stuff. My notes app,
Tinder.
I love nah, bro. I'm in a healthy relationship, buddy. Reddit, I actually love Reddit. It's not even bodybuilding. I just go on there,
God,
dude, and dude, Reddit is something that I just go even for work. Like any kind of news you want, it's over there. So I crawl Reddit like crazy.
Yeah, but it's full of filthy liberals.
It depends on what subreddit you go to, Stu.
That's true. They're all
I haven't been on
pretty
Reddit.
bad though.
Yeah. There's a lot of subreddits, bro. It's a rabbit hole, but I usually go to mildly interesting. So it's just like random facts.
That's
random facts that people do, and like life pro tips. Just bullshit, dude. Just literally bullshit. I don't do anything productive on there.
Yeah.
What's another one here? I don't know.
I feel like
I guess
notes
my smartphone, my lights app to control my lights in my house, you know.
Oh, have that on that app.
Yeah.
Ken is bougie.
I am bougie like that. Yeah.
I think I'm good with notes, YouTube, what else did I say? Chase Bank and Hinge app.
Netflix. Gotta put Netflix in there.
I think I'm good with YouTube. I'll just buy movies on YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube Red. As long as I get YouTube Red, I could watch some original programming and shows and shit.
Well, technically, if you have the browser, you can access all these apps on a browser.
Oh, there goes Zalo. There goes Zalo.
That's a loophole. That's cheating.
How about Stu? What you got, Stu?
I actually do need to do Instagram, like for like contract obligations. So like that's one. Bank, that's two. Spotify, need my music and
them
occasionally
hands
podcasts. Would you drop the hands thing? Google Docs. I keep all my client plans and stuff on Google Docs. So like I'll like copy and paste out of there and send them their shit on WhatsApp. And Discord. Definitely Discord.
I don't know how to use
keep up with the boys.
Discord.
I don't know how to use it.
Show them the shirt.
Oh, yeah? Shout out to
Serious Bodybuilding.
Serious Bodybuilding, Macho 8, John Effer, and the guys. Serious Bodybuilding. Be careful.
Wait, I don't know how to use Macho 8?
Yeah, Macho 8. Isn't that how you say it? How do you say it?
It's we just call him M-Cho.
M-Cho.
Yeah,
M-Cho.
Matt Cho. Yeah.
Matt Cho. Yeah. M-Cho.
I don't, bro. I don't know how to use this Discord thing. I tried messing around with it. I'm not up to date. Yeah,
it's
I'm
fun,
getting too
dude.
old for that.
It's fun, bro. They're a riot over there. It's fun.
Yeah.
Fun shit. Yeah.
Well, all right. One more question. Yeah, let's keep it not bodybuilding related. I think that's fun. I think we covered enough bodybuilding. When and how did you lose your virginity? This is real personal right now. Real personal. All right, let's start with Zay.
Oh shit, dude! I don't know if I want to answer that. I don't know, dude.
There's no easy way to answer.
I'll tell you off camera.
Can you summarize it? Just don't go into detail. This is as least amount of detail as you can do.
At least tell us the age.
Yeah, or around age. Is that blowing your spot if you say it?
No, 17.
Okay. That's a respectable age. Yeah,
not too bad.
Your mom isn't gonna be too mad at that one.
She's over it.
Let's go, Stuart.
Yeah, I could just do age 18.
Oh, the rest of the story is too gruesome. Oh, I mean, Yeah. Good point. All right.
Man.
Let's go, Ken.
Yeah, so same thing. This was off topic. So 17, I'm leaving it there.
Oh, you're there. Everybody nervous on this. Oh, I guess me and Compton are the only ones that probably could answer this.
Yeah, we're all.
I'll answer. I don't care.
Yeah. All right.
So
let's say Compton.
I was 18. I was in college, which I don't know. I guess I'm the late bloomer here. My roommate at the time was seeing some girl who lived in the dorms, and her roommate came to the house. And I think you guys kind of get the drift of how that works, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a mind-blowing 13 seconds. I mean, I thought I did great. I mean, I'm up to like a minute now. So I mean, I went 4 times instead.
Progress, baby.
It's been training.
Okay. I was senior year of high school, and this girl was dating one of the other football players on the team. But they were, a high school relationship. They were always on and off. Now, I knew the guy. I wasn't friends with him because friends don't do that to other friends. If you've ever dated any of my friends, you're off limits completely. But he was like somebody I knew, high and by. I didn't know him like that. So me and her had been like back then it was AIM. You guys remember AIM? Like AOL messages. So it was like I had like a sidekick. It was a sidekick. That's sidekick, right? That shit. I think it was sidekick, and we was talking on AIM. And then she was coming from some kind of party, and she's like, I don't know, 16, 17. So I don't know what kind of partying you do at that age. But she was coming from some kind of party. She came over, and she was like kind of drunk, not that drunk, but a little tipsy, whatever. And of course, I had one mission in mind. And I remember I was super excited, right? But she smelled a little off because she had been partying. And I think she was
I
too
thought you
tipsy.
were going somewhere else with that,
but But being that she's young, young girls maybe don't have the best hygiene, and she's a little tipsy, so she forgot. You know how girls do to go to the bathroom. I gotta use the bathroom. They clean up a little bit and they do a whole bath. They call it the whole bath, and then they come out. She missed that step, so there was no bathroom use. But if you're a horny teenager, you don't care. So obviously, I did what I had to do. Like Justin said, all 15 seconds of it. But here's the weird thing. The weird thing for me, I didn't actually nut. But I kind of felt the sensation like I was having like an orgasm, but nothing actually came out, which I thought was weird.
That means you were jerking off too much.
I definitely was jerking off.
There's no way. Like, I mean, you said the first time, I was like, yeah, same thing. 15 seconds of glory. You know what I mean? Like,
bro, like, like literally, like my first 3 times, I didn't nut, bro. Like, I think maybe I was consuming way too much porn, but I didn't. But I still enjoyed it. It wasn't like I had blue balls or anything like that. I still enjoyed it. But yeah, so that was, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just like fucking like a rabbit at that point. And nobody knows what the fuck they're doing first. Like, it don't matter how much porn you watch, you know what the fuck you're doing. But I was just happy to text everybody and say, yo, you won't believe what the fuck just happened. I just got this girl Sabrina. And she was cute. So that's always a feather in your cap. But no, I guess no crazy story. That's pretty, 16, 17 is a decent age. And it was cool. You would prefer it be somebody with more experience than you and somebody who's all the way sober if you want a good experience. You wouldn't want 2 virgins, and you wouldn't want somebody who's a little tipsy. It's not the best. But that smell, it was like my entire sheets had that smell. It smelled like, I don't want to get too detailed, but it didn't smell very, very
Please
nice.
don't. No.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my story. I kind of wish
it up, 80.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. thanks for coming on. I gotta do a
you,
little bit of
brothers.
editing. A little bit of editing
Yeah.
this time, not too much. But thanks for coming on. It's been 3 hours now. Compton, thanks for coming through. The rest of the gang, thank you guys. Appreciate y'all.
All right, talk to you
Thank
soon.
you, good lady.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.